nonsense in the air. You're making it hard for the people who live in there. You're moving so fast, but baby, you know not where. Wildlife, what's gonna happen to wildlife? Animals in the zoo. Oh, oh, you'd better stop, 'cause animals everywhere. Man is the top, and animal too. And man, you've just gotta care. Wildlife, what's gonna happen to wildlife? The animals in the zoo. Breathing a lot of political nonsense in the air. You're making it hard for the people who live in there. Oh, wildlife, what's gonna happen to wildlife? Animals in the zoo. Wildlife, whatever happened to
Good Monday morning, everybody. Thank you for rejoining me for this live, recorded episode that didn't quite go over well yesterday. By the way, thanks to the wonderful light workers for that beautiful rendition of our theme song, Wildlife, of course, written by the great Paul McCartney, who had a birthday not too long ago. Happy birthday to him. And we thank him for allowing us to use this song for our wildlife purposes to better educate people. And he's allowed us to use it for wildlife reasons such as that. We appreciate that. And we appreciate the wonderful Cynthia Daniels for recording the Lightworkers rendition. And of course, I did the video for them, and it was a real beautiful piece. And I'm proud to use it as our intro to our show. Excuse me. Excuse me, young lady. Sorry, folks. No couth. Anyway, we're re-recording this because I did a whole 2 hour and 45 minute show last night, and this character right here knocked out my mic line. Oddly enough, you'd think that this studio that does so many wonderful things that I haven't quite figured them all out yet would have warned me that that was happening, and I apologize. One of our viewers, cousin Jane, she put in the chat when it happened, and I didn't even check it. So thanks, Jane, and I apologize for not catching your message. I guess I got to check that more often. Okay, so no big deal. I got up early. I'm going to do it again. I'm actually going to redo the kids show from last Saturday because there's been some issues with the camera on the replay. I have fixed it. Okay, we're now streaming and recording in 4K. Prior to that, it was 720, and apparently on the recording end, that's the quality we were given. I didn't check it. I apologize for that, but we have it fixed now. I'm pretty sure the recorded shows now will be crystal clear, just like you're seeing right now. Okay, and hopefully that's the case. It is early, so I am drinking my coffee. I hope everybody had a great Father's Day, and I hope the rest of you had a great first day of the summer. Let's all hope for a wonderful, safe, and beautiful, um, trouble-free summer. And but we're here today for a special episode. And as I told you last night, it did take me 2 hours and 45 minutes. So you guys, once it's recorded, you can certainly watch it at your leisure. Um, Meanwhile, just so everybody knows again, if you have any questions or ideas for topics, please let me know. And of course, I'll answer every question you send me. I don't care what it is. No question is stupid. So please send me any question. If you have a good topic for the show you'd like me to discuss, I'd be happy to do that as well. You'll just have to email me here. Email me, or you could call me. I'm going to give you my number later. You can text me. You can put it on the comments on Facebook on my personal page. You can put it on YouTube. You can put it on the Facebook Let's Get Wild page. There's so many ways of contacting me that you can take advantage of any of those. Okay, um, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at all. Um, Also, before I get started, I did want to thank the folks that did the kids show with me. I'm going to redo it later, but I have them on recording, and please come back and watch it. The crystal clear, good quality version, because we had four special guests that helped to answer 12 questions that the kids sent in over the past few weeks. They were outstanding questions. I learned so much as well. I learned just as much as the kids learned. Believe me, it was a really good show. And that's why I'm going to re record it to make sure that the quality is good. But I do want to thank those that participated. My dear friend Frank Vincente from the Wild Dog Foundation, the New York Metro chapter. Um, he was gracious enough to answer one of the questions, I think, from a young gentleman named Stephen. Okay, fantastic question. Please watch it. You'll see Frank gives a really good answer, and one that actually um, taught me something. And then, of course, we had the great Dr. Bill Crane join us for to give us a little bit of his unbelievably wonderful philosophy when it comes to wildlife. That was a perfect question. I knew it was right up Bill's alley, and it was such an honor having Bill answer it for us, and he did. Bill's over upstate now on what's called the Safe Haven Farm, where he rescues and gives forever homes to old and disabled farm animals. It's just wonderful things he does. He's always him and his wife Ellen have always been incredible advocates for animals, the whole spectrum, and I was grateful to have him write in one of my books, as well as joining us here. And we'll have him on again, hopefully, because he has an incredible philosophy on what animals think and feel. And boy, did he answer a great question! You guys just watch the show simply for that alone. It was great. Our dear friend Patricia Hope was supposed to join us. She was under the weather. We hope she's feeling much better today. I hope you're feeling good, Pat. But she was gracious enough to write in a response to a concerned parent's question about ticks. And of course, once again, Pat gave us a very thorough and very good answer. So if you're anybody who's trying to keep up with good tips on keeping ticks away, don't ever miss what Pat has to say. She knows it all about these ticks, let me tell you. Then, of course, we also had the wonderful Missy Hargraves, the president of the board at the Evelyn Alexander Wildlife Rescue Center, and she answered a young girl's question, Maggie, who hopes to grow up and be a veterinarian, and she got some great advice from Missy. So I want to thank Missy and my other three guests for participating and helping me answer the questions for the kids. Of course, once we get another, we have 8 more questions to answer. Once we get to 12, we'll do it again. Okay, it was a lot of fun. Um, all right, folks. Now to the topic on hand for today. Okay, maybe I can cut it a little shorter. I had a great dry run last night, and it went 2 hours and 45 minutes. So sit back. But folks, I'm telling you, if you do everything I tell you that I'm about to tell you, okay, I am going to give you the relief from 17 species, major species of animals that cause the most nuisance wildlife damage. Um, and I'm going to teach you how to eliminate those issues, whether you're home or away for the season, not to have to come back and expect to have some problems. I'm going to eliminate all that from you. All you have to do is follow these directions. Of course, some of you may not have problems with certain species. That's fine. Okay. Um, Follow the ones you want to follow, but I suggest you do them all. And not only will you be nuisance wildlife free, but you'll also have the grand benefit of still being able to enjoy wildlife. You're not eliminating it. Okay. You're eliminating the problem of wildlife affecting, damaging your yard, your property, and your home. You still have to understand that animals need to roam. They do things. They go places. They have no instruction or from us for direction. Look, the problem on eastern end of Long Island is you've built way too many houses and roads and parking lots and all that jazz. And you continue to do so. But every time you do, you're losing more and more habitat for the wildlife. And they get pushed into smaller and smaller areas. Okay. They don't stop procreating because of this. They continue to do what they do. So the populations build in areas that continue to shrink. All right. You've created the problem. When you clear a forest and take homes away from hundreds of animals, okay, and you build a house there, animals aren't just going to walk away, okay? They're going to use your house as the trees and the forest that you've eliminated, okay? Half the animals will go find somewhere else to go, the other half is going to stay. Okay. So you have to know what to do to keep these animals from turning your home into a tree, literally, okay, where they can live inside. And of course, you don't want them tearing up your property as well. But you have to understand there is an element of coexistence. You're going to have to coexist with a certain amount of wildlife Okay. You can't eliminate wildlife from your life completely. It's not possible on the eastern end of Long Island. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve the issues of them creating issues. And then you can still enjoy the wildlife, not causing issues. Okay. I'm also going to save you thousands and thousands of dollars. Number one, you're not going to need an exterminator anymore. You're not going to need a trapper every year anymore. And you're not going to have to pay contractors tens of thousands of dollars to fix damage created by wildlife. Okay. That's what I'm going to save you. Okay. I've been doing this for 35 years. I've dealt with just about every animal that could possibly impact a home on the eastern end of Long Island. I've lived there. I'm from there. I was born and raised in Amagansett. I know the lay of the land, the various different habitats and landscapes. I know all the species, and I know how they think and operate, and how they can use the benefits that we've created to impact our life while we impact theirs. So I'm going to clear the air with everybody. All you got to do is follow my directions. Okay. If you do, and you find out that I've solved your problem and you were able to get rid of your exterminator because you don't have rodent issues and you don't have raccoons breaking in your roof every year because I've solved your issues, maybe because I've saved you $1,000 or thousands of dollars, maybe you would feel grateful enough to make a donation, okay, to me, to our organization here. We don't have anything, or we don't have a literal organization, but my wife and I still do rescue and rehab when it's necessary here. And of course, I do stuff like this. I do education. I have a kids show every Saturday, and I do a full show on Sunday for all viewers. Okay. So when people say to me, how can I help? How can I help you? How can I help your organization? Well, I use materials as well to help the animals. I have to buy it. I've been doing everything out of my own pocket. I've never charged for educational programs in the schools. I do everything for free, and I cover all the costs myself. Always have and will continue to do so. But if you want to know how you can help, you can certainly make a donation to me. And if I save you thousands to tens of thousands of dollars when you find out that what I'm going to tell you right now works, maybe you'll throw me a 50 or 100. That certainly goes a super long way when it goes to helping animals. And every penny that people donate will go to this. We pay for this studio format to do this show, and we have other expenses as well for the wildlife. So if you're looking to help out, that would be the best way to do it. Okay, folks. So a very special episode. Let's get going on it. Wildlife proofing your home and property, 100%. Okay, you ready? Now listen, no shortcuts. You have to do what I say. If you don't, if you miss one thing, then you might as well not do anything. All right. Now we're going to start from the ground up. Look, folks, I understand there's certain homes or certain people that aren't going to want to stop feeding the birds. They're not going to want to cut down that beautiful tree that's been in their yard up against their home for a long time. But, folks, if I can't figure out an alternative way for you to keep these things, and I'll tell you if I do, but if I can't, you got to lose them. And if you don't, then you can absolutely guarantee you are going to have issues. Okay. So I will promise you that. So I'm going to help you not have those issues. But if you can't follow these directions, I can't help but have to tell you, you will have problems. You will need to call people and pay them to fix them. Okay. So you're going to have to weigh out what's more important. Okay. And I'm sure you guys can do that. Now, again, this is the wildlife proofing your home and property. We're going to start, since property is there, we're going to start from the ground up, starting with the grounds. Okay. I have a variety of pictures to show you. Every time I change a picture, there's going to be it for some reason flashes to me. Another thing I have to try to figure out. You'll see what I'm talking about, but pardon that and just bear with me, and you'll be able to see everything just fine. So the first thing I want to talk about is um, uh, your yard, your property. Most important thing, okay, about your property, you need to keep your lawns short. You have to keep your lawn short to keep um you're eliminating areas for small rodents to hide, to cache food, to keep them coming back, and also you keep your lawn short, you're going to eliminate a lot of tick issues. Okay, ticks love tall grass. If you keep the lawn short, you're less likely to have ticks coming into your yard. Okay. So the first thing you got to do is to keep your lawns well manicured, keep them short, and that's going to be the start of this work you're going to be doing to eliminate all your problems. Second, outside gardening. All right. First of all, anything in boxes, if you're going to have gardens, you have to have it 3 foot high. 3 foot high, because rabbits or groundhogs are going to be able to get into it unless it's at least 3 foot high. And then, if you really want to eliminate any possibility, you're gonna build walls and a ceiling around your vegetables or flowers with hardware cloth. And we're going to talk more about what hardware cloth is. That's going to be your savior. So, look, if you gardens are food stations, okay, for all sorts of animals, particularly when you have vegetables that start rotting, like eggplants or tomatoes or pumpkins. There's your rats. They're going to come. They come out of nowhere, believe me. So if you want to eliminate those issues, you're going to have to either eliminate gardening, okay, or you're going to have to make sure you do the gardening properly. And that is raising the beds off the ground, minimum of 3 feet, and then enclosing them, so that even when you start getting fruit, that rotten fruit doesn't draw rats. Rats will climb up 3 feet, no problem. Okay, so you got to think about these things. What's more important, the vegetable garden or the rat infestation? Look, you're on the end of Eastern Long Island. You're surrounded by water on 3 sides. Some areas very narrow. Okay, you don't have a lot of choices here. It's not like you can fix these space issues and these animal population issues. They can't be fixed. So um, you're going to have to lose some things. Okay, here's another one: ponds, ornamental ponds. Okay, but anything, any water source, bird baths. If you have poor drainage in your yard, that when it rains, you get small puddles. Ornamental ponds, whether they're fish in them or not, they are going to draw wildlife. They're a water source. Um, you'll have insects in the water, of course, particularly if it's still water. You'll have mosquitoes in there. Of course, the frogs are going to come and live in there. You might even get a turtle. We had one person had on Egypt Lane, had a nice pond like this, had a huge snapping turtle living in it. Nobody knew until they cleaned it out, and there he was, at the bottom, and he, was not very happy, that he was getting moved. Nobody got hurt anyway. So yeah, these are will draw all sorts of wildlife because it's a water source, okay? Whether it's, um, mammals, birds, insects, they're gonna come here, and if you put fish in it, you're absolutely gonna draw raccoons into your yard. Okay. Also, great blue herons love to fly in and pick the fish out that you put in there. I don't care if it's your expensive koi or just a goldfish. And you could probably stop the great blue herons with the crisscross lines of string, but that kind of takes away a bit of the visual of the beauty of the pond, doesn't it? So again, you got to weigh these things out before you even do them. I love these ponds, but if you have them and you don't want to eliminate them, you need to expect to have wildlife in your yard and property. So don't be surprised if you see a raccoon there washing his hands or trying to grab one of your koi fish for a late night buffet. Okay, very important, folks. This couldn't be more important. And I know this is going to bother a lot of people, but I can't help you. All right. Bird feeders will draw wildlife to your yard um, quicker than everything else. And I mean everything. The problem with the bird feeders is the birds peck at this stuff. And of course, the empty shells go on the ground as well as excess seed. Birds usually clean it up, but whatever's left on the ground, as soon as the sun goes down, the rodents come out and they clean it up. And I have seen so many rat problems be created because of bird feeders. Okay. First of all, multiple feeders, not necessary. Use one because what I'm going to tell you is how to deal with one. And if you have to use more, then you're pushing the issue. You're asking for trouble. I know everybody loves birds. Plant some bushes with some berries, allow the birds to eat some good natural foods as well. And look, I support feeding the birds as much as anyone else. All right? But you can't overdo it. Use one feeder. When you're done at the end of the day, when the birds get their last meal, bring them in. Don't leave them out overnight, and most importantly, and if you're not willing to do this, you might as well just forget about it. Okay, you're going to have rodent issues out in your yard. You need to rake up the shells and the seed, which is almost impossible to do it completely, but you got to do it the best you can, and you got to rake it up. You got to rake it into something that you can pick it up and throw it into a garbage can. If you leave the debris on the ground, you might as well leave the bird feeder up because the rodents are coming. And I guarantee you this, folks, the rodents will come. And I don't mean the small ones. Okay. I've seen more rat problems caused by bird feeders, among other things. You're going to draw raccoons, you're going to draw deer into your property. Um, so, bird feeders, you either eliminate them or you really have to be uh, dedicated into bringing them up and cleaning the ground below every single night. Okay. If you do that, you are really going to eliminate a lot of your issues right there. That's how many issues bird feeders cause. I'd say 50% of your problems are going to be caused by bird feeders. Okay? Let's look at some houses and some problems that go along with this. Bad news, okay? Um uh because what we need to understand now is all these trees and vines and everything that grows up your house, all they are ladders for wildlife to get on your roof. Okay? Most of the damage, almost 85% of damage to homes is caused by the roof. If you can keep the animal from getting above your gutter line, you're going to eliminate a lot of your issues with wildlife, certainly the damage costs. Okay? If you can keep them below your soffits, you're almost clear as a whistle. Okay. But putting trees up close and allowing them to just grow onto your home, lattice work that goes up to the roof, obviously, is a literal ladder, and vines and stuff like this along your gutter. Sometimes the ivy can look really beautiful, but if you have it, you might as well put raccoons up on your roof yourself and say, "Go to it, boys," because you are going to have issues. You can count on it. All right. So this is not a good setup here. Here, not a good one as well. See the trees in front of the house? A squirrel can jump 16 to 18 feet. Not that they would want to every time they want to get to their home. They would probably prefer a less distance to have to jump multiple times a day. But if you don't want issues with wildlife getting on your roof, you have to eliminate everything at least 16 to 18 feet away from your home to alleviate animals from jumping from tree to home, except for one animal. And we're going to talk about that soon. Okay. This house is all wrong. On the right side, you see they have that low roof that allows animals to get up to the roof very easily from the ground, not having to climb much at all. Okay. Bad design in home architecture as far as keeping a house wildlife proof. If you go to the right side of that picture and you go up the crease of that roof, you look just at the top of that roof there, you could see a gable vent, just the corner of the gable vent up there. How easy to get to that gable vent. All right. Raccoon's going to be in that for certain. And then, of course, you have the trees in the front are way too close. And then to make matters worse, you got a dumpster here that they probably are throwing household stuff in. That's drawing raccoons to your property. And when they're done with that, they jump on a tree, go to your roof, and make your attic their home. And who knows what's in the cooler there? Problem in this case, it's probably food. Bad situation here, folks. All right, and of course, no good. You notice on this picture, they have a chimney cap and they have a nice brand new roof, but you can tell the house was built years ago. Okay. Well, I can tell you why that roof was just probably replaced. Can you guess why? Yeah. They insist on having that ugly tree hanging over their roof. That is, excuse me, folks. That's a problem right there. That's wildlife on your roof. You'll be changing your roof every 5 years. Okay. High hedges, tight hedges like this, no good. They climb up the middle, come to the top, boom. They grab your gutter, they're on your roof. No good, folks. Okay. Uh, Not good. And why would you even want that there? It's so ugly, right? In the front of your house. But certainly, lack of maintenance and tree care on this is creating a major problem. All right. And here as well. And I'm surprised because look at the crown venting. This is a walk down the tree onto the roof. You notice the roof is new again, right, folks? Yet they don't trim the tree that probably allowed the animal to destroy the roof, um, but they did replace the roof. So bad thinking. Keep the trees and branches away from your roof. Don't let them go over the roof. Don't let them touch the roof. Don't let them touch the gutter. And if you can, by all means, keep them 16 feet away from your home so the squirrels can't jump. And then, of course, keep your shrubbery that is against your house, keep that low so animals can't jump. Of course, your soffit helps there because it kind of juts out, but you don't want animals able to attempt to jump. Now, if there's a particular tree that look, it's 100 years old, my great great grandfather is buried underneath it. Whatever the case may be, if there's one tree that just simply cannot be moved, but it is an absolute problem for wildlife getting on your roof, the only option you're going to have is using what's called a tree baffle. Okay. Now, I've used these several times and they work. I've been very successful using them. In fact, this one is exactly the one that I used, and I keep them brown, not just for the tree, but if animals do try to claw up that material, I'll see the scratch marks on the material on the flashing, and it'll let me know that they didn't make it up. You know, you'll see how high the scratches go, and if they stay down the below the midsection, you know that your baffles are working good. I just find it strange that the tree and the baffle are so close to that hedge, which would easily give a squirrel the opportunity at the top of that hedge to jump above that baffle. So you got to use your head, folks. Look, if you're going to do this, you have to do it 100%. If you do it 99%, you might as well not do it at all. Okay? I'm giving you the 100% plan. I'm giving you 100% of solution, and you need to do 100% back as far as correcting things, and you'll have 100% wildlife free home, nuisance wildlife. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is very, very important. In fact, actually, I want to talk about one more thing first. For those who do have wires that go from the street to your home, yes, squirrels will use this. If you see them using it, you're going to want to put a baffle on it as well, or a collar. This one's a little bit elaborate. They make a lot of, they make them much simpler, and they do work. Most of these wires go from the street to the coupling that's usually right above a gable vent. If you've ever noticed that on homes, okay, next time you're driving around, see if you notice how many gable vents are below the electric coupling that your wires come from the street. It's interesting. However, uh, put a collar or a baffle on that wire if it's a problem, and you've eliminated that avenue to your roof as well. Okay. Now, the last two I want to tell you about as far as ground and property protection before we go to the house. Um, the last two are the most important. Okay. Number one, you must clean the vegetation away from your foundation. 100%. There's no exception. I don't care if part of your house is under a deck. You need to get onto there or be 100% certain that you are secure under there. Okay, that's the problem with decks. Um, they're beautiful. I love them. I have one, but it eliminates your option to get onto there and maintain and upkeep that portion of your foundation and home. Vegetation like this can very easily grow underneath siding and push it out just a little bit to allow mice to get in. Folks, look at your pinky, okay? The tip of your pinky is all a mouse needs to get into your home. That's that hole, the size of your pinky, okay, is all a mouse needs to squeeze through. So you need to be certain that you alleviate all those opportunities to make those holes or create openings a pinky size or bigger. Okay, cleaning your vegetation away from the foundation is great. It keeps the rodents from using that as bedding. A lot of times the sun will hit a side of your home, heat up your foundation, and then at night when it cools off, animals go and they lie against your foundation behind this vegetation, and they're warm and cozy uh, as they can be. So they'll keep coming back. All right. So clean the vegetation, and even better, build yourself like a 2 foot easement with stones or rocks. Make it look nice. Go all the way around the perimeter of the home. If you do that, you keep your lawn low. You pull your vegetation away from your foundation all around your home, do a 2 foot easement of rock, clear all the trees 16 to 18 feet away from your home and not allow them to be ladders, eliminate all ladders getting up to your roof. Folks, you're practically 90% wildlife proof. Okay. it all starts on the property. All right. That's major importance. And it looks nice too with the rocks. Looks really good. It'll eliminate all rodents and animals sneaking up against your foundation and finding it a comfortable place to be. That includes snakes as well. Okay. You'd think they like the heat of the rocks, but um, I've found personally that they don't tend to, they'd rather be on a smooth surface. Okay. Last thing you need to be very attentive about as far as property wise, everybody knows your garbage can. Pardon me, folks. Okay. They have to be 100%, no excuses, absolutely impenetrable. Okay. You can get these straps here on Amazon. They work great. Um, they're inexpensive and they keep that top from being open. Okay, and folks, it doesn't only matter keeping the lids closed. Okay, garbage will draw animals to it, so make sure your garbage cans don't have holes in them. The lids fit securely. Keep all your garbage in bags. Tie the bags tightly closed. Don't leave them partially open. Okay. Set them in there. Don't allow them to be thrown in and rip open. You're trying to eliminate the scent of garbage completely. Keep them in bags, put them in here, keep it secure. And if there's ever a garbage breaks open and something spills into the bottom of the can, clean the can. Absolutely. Very important to keep these cans 100% clean and secure. And now you're at 95% of of keeping animals interested in coming on your property. You have no draw now. You don't have accommodating trees so they can get onto the roof. You don't have food scents wafting around your yard from your garbage. Your yard is cut clean and low so they can't hide approaching your home, and no place to hide. And you have a very clean area around the perimeter of your home and foundation. Um, so you're making it very unaccommodating for animals, whether they're diurnal or nocturnal. You've done a wonderful job so far. Okay. And here is a picture of a house that's almost perfect. All right. If you look, everything seems to be well kept around the house, except for that tree on the right. Can't quite tell how close to the corner of that house it is. It may be a little close. Um, However, you can count on it being too close if it gets much bigger. So I'd eliminate the tree on the right, and you're pretty much protected. Okay. Believe me, I can see a squirrel climbing up that flag to the top and then jumping on the gutter. That would happen. Okay, so maybe you might want to think about that as well. Okay, now after we've done all that, we're now ready to start on the house because we're going to start protecting you from wildlife. Okay, we've already eliminated the allure to have them come into your yard, all of them except one, which we're going to talk about. But let's talk about the first animal we are going to eliminate. It's everyone's worst nightmare as far as issues in the home, and that would be your common house mouse. Sorry, folks, I gotta keep the coffee pumping in me. Okay, so there's your common house mouse. Let me get my notes now. We're going to go through this. So I'm going to tell you how to eliminate this problem. Okay. I know a lot of you folks use rodenticides. I'm not a big fan of that. Um, you shouldn't be either. Okay. A mouse like this could eat some rodenticide and go outside and start feeling lethargic and lose the ability to think and hide from predators. Next thing you know, he's snatched up by a hawk or an owl. They get picked apart, they eat the mouse, and now the owl or the hawk is suffering from um, um, secondary rodenticide poisoning. Okay, big problem in the country right now. A lot of states are banning rodenticides. I think it's way overdue. I think everyone should get involved in this and stop it as well. If you love owls and hawks, you'll stop using rodenticides because they kill just as many owls and hawks, believe me, as colonies of mice. Um, um, Glue boards as well are not my favorite. They allow the animal to suffer excruciating pain before dying an excruciating death. Not into that at all. Okay. So the best way to eliminate mice humanely, no kill, is to not draw them to your yard to begin with and not give them the option to enter your home. All right. How does this happen? How do you stop doing that? Well, we certainly don't allow this to happen because we're going to start now at the bottom. We're going to start at the ground. We're going to start with the foundation. But when you look at a house that has this stuff and we've eliminated all the entryways and the foundation, you can count on rodents climbing and they will climb up this kind of stuff, no problem. Find an opening in your roof and they're back in your house, not even worrying about entering from the foundation. Okay. So we have to do this eliminating of all the stuff I told you in the first part of vegetation on the house, lattice work. You want to keep the mouse from getting to the roof as well, because you're definitely about ready to eliminate them coming in from the foundation, which is the number one way they come in. Okay. How do I find where they're coming in? How do I know where they're coming from and going? Well, you look for signs around your foundation and home like this. Okay. They're there. You just got to look for them. That's what the professionals do. Okay. They look for the filth and around a hole, and they can find scratch marks, and sometimes they'll even find hair around the hole that got caught and pulled out. And then they can identify what animal is creating this. This is probably maybe a squirrel, um, um, something small. Um, I would guess by the color of the filth. But as far as mice go, if you go up in your attic, you're wondering if you have a problem, you go in your attic or your basement and you see this kind of stuff. Okay. The staining, whether it's brown, it's usually more of a red color. Okay. Like a blood red, maroon, even. This is sebum. And this is the musky oil that is excreted from the mouse's hair follicles. Okay. It's scented, however, it's also an oil and it stains. And after walking over the same area over and over and over again, the sebum kind of leaves their trail. It can be left on plastic, any material. I've seen it on brick, stonework, around fireplaces, down in basements, on walls. It's sebum, and that is a good indication of where your mice are traveling. If you follow that, you could probably lead right to a hole. Of course, the hole at ground level will be in your foundation. So, the very first thing you need to do to wildlife proof your home, okay, is seal your foundation 100%. That means walk around the entire foundation and make sure every crack, I don't care if it's the size of your finger or smaller, they'll just get bigger. So seal them now, okay? So, what are you going to seal these things from with? What do you need? What expensive formula? Well, nothing at all. Just get yourself a case, okay, of 100% all purpose silicone. All right. 100% waterproof. You can use it on anything. All right. You also want to get yourself a bag of copper, um, what do you call it? Copper wool, not steel wool. Steel wool will oxidize very quickly, particularly in humid areas, okay, or when it gets wet. And when it oxidizes, because it's so thin, it eventually breaks down into rust powder and will literally fall apart. Whereas copper wool will not. Okay, so if you're going to use steel wool for anything, eliminate the steel, replace it with copper wool. All right, to plug holes, but I suggest you plug big holes with copper wool. Always put a silicone topping on that. All right, or infuse the copper wool with silicone once you plug the hole. That's really good. Excuse me. Okay, folks. Then the next thing you're going to want to get, and I'm going to keep track of all this and let you know in the end. You need 100-foot roll of hardware cloth. Okay. And this is very important. Maybe 23 gauge hardware cloth is sufficient enough. Maybe 36 inches by 100-foot roll. You'll have enough to do so many elimination repairs on your home. You'll be happy to keep this stuff on board with you. Okay. Because you're going to use this to plug up holes like this. Okay. In your foundation. All right. And of course, you're not just going to lay it on the ground. You're going to dig a hole. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Trench fencing. Okay. You're going to dig a hole in the dirt. You're going to put the hardware cloth down into the dirt. Maybe put a little concrete on top of it after you bend it in a 90-degree. And then once you do that, you can put the dirt back over it and then secure it to the wood above the cement and the beam. And then uh, pump it full of silicone, and you've eliminated that hole quite well. Okay, so you have to do that. You have to make sure your foundation is a 100% hole crack free. Okay, and if you do that, now you're 95%. Okay, wildlife proof home and property. That's pretty good. How could the rest be just 5%? Well, it is. It's easy. You keep them down below your gutter line and you're pretty much home free. But the foundation is important because now you're eliminating the rodents. And if the rodents can't find a way in, okay, they're going to go to another home where they can. They're not going to stick around where there's no food or access. This applies to all animals. You eliminate what they're there for, food sources, water sources, and shelter. They What's their reason for staying? There is none. They will move on. So this is generally what you're trying to do. Eliminate everything that they're there for. Okay? And all opportunities for them to get what they want. All right? So you've cleaned your yard up, you've completely secured your foundation. All right? You're almost there. All right? What else can you do now? Because you're not going to need an exterminator anymore. No more monthly payments, no more rodenticides. You don't need them. You have no more mice in your homes. All right? So this is just good work. I mean, you've done great so far. Now, another thing you're going to want to get to help is one of two things. You can get yourself a thing of a bottle of eucalyptus oil. I actually prefer peppermint oil. Either one works great, but I prefer the peppermint. Okay, it mixes better with water if you want to dilute it a little bit for spraying, which you can. You can use peppermint oil straight outside because it's an oil. That way the rain won't dilute it. Or If you're going to use it on inside, maybe along your sill plate or just as precautionary treatment, um, you might want to dilute it with water and put it in a spray bottle. It'll broadcast easier. Okay, but you're going to be using this peppermint oil a lot. It's gonna solve a lot of issues. So make sure you get enough of it. Okay. I also love these things. All right. You can get them in packs of 10, or this one comes in packs of 12. They're great. I put them in places. For example, I put them in my battery compartment of my ATV. I put them in under the hood in my car. I put them in my oil utility room where my oil tank is. They're great. It's so you don't have to spray down everything with peppermint oil, which you can do as well. But it gives you the same protection in a little pouch that can fit into small spaces, maybe a pool, a deck, a storage container where you keep your cushions. You might want to throw one or two in there rather than spray all your cushions with peppermint oil. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great product. And as far as mice go, even though you've eliminated them from your home, it wouldn't hurt to grab some of these, maybe put one in your attic if you have a plug up there, one in the basement, and then a couple around the house. Look, you've eliminated the problem, you've eliminated the allure of rodents even wanting to be in your house. Throw these things around. They don't do anything. They make no noise. They say they eliminate insects as well. I can't say with 100% certainty how that works out with insects. I haven't researched that, but I know these ultrasonic devices do work on mice. They're also good for bats, and we're going to be talking about that in a second. Okay. So you've eliminated the issue. This is just an extra precaution, and they look nice in the home, or don't if you don't want to have them around to remind you that you might even need precaution. I'm just telling you they're available and they do work. But if you're going to use them because you have a mouse problem in your house, but you're not going to fix your foundation. You're just going to use these. Well, don't expect them to work 100%. Okay. um, I don't think they're made to eliminate rodent infestations. I think they're just used as a preventative. Okay, at least from my knowledge. Lastly, I would suggest you get some gutter guards. These are kind of expensive. They go at the bottom part of your gutter to keep rodents from climbing up your gutter to get to your roof line, which they will. Okay. Um, I would use the ones that go in the top, the little wire balls, and they fit into that space where it allows water and debris to go down your gutter, but nothing to come up. You can get like 18 of them for, what did I see those things for? Um, Gutter guards. You get a 20 pack for 16 bucks, rodent gutter guards on Amazon. Okay. All right, folks, very important. We're almost done with the foundation, but very important. This is a deal breaker. All right, you've eliminated everything. You've eliminated every hole and opportunity for any rodent or wildlife to want to even be on your property. Okay, you got to make sure your Bilko doors are secure. They'll come just for that. All right. This is what your Bilko door needs to look like. Nothing different. Okay. It cannot look like this. This is no bueno. It's not going to work. Also, this is not good. So if your Bilko door has these problems, either you replace it and make it look like this or eliminate it, or you will have rodent problems the rest of your life. This is their number one way of getting into your basement, right here. This is it. Okay. So eliminate that problem and you're golden. All right. Another big issue that people tend to skip is holes where wires, pipes, or cables go through ductwork, go through your exterior walls into your home. Okay, and they haven't been properly plugged. Most of the time, these guys will drill a hole bigger than what they're going to slide the pipe or wire through, so that there's no problem doing so. So they do it a little bigger. There's no issue with them doing their job, and then they just seal up the difference or not. In this case, it was not. Okay, so how do you fix this? Well, it's telling you to stuff some quarter-inch wire mesh in there, but it's kind of small for that. I think you'd be better off with copper wool. So I'd stuff some copper wool in there, and then I'd splooge the heck out of it with silicone. And that's it. You're done. You've just eliminated that clear avenue into your home. Okay? Your garage. Look, you've eliminated the rodents in your house. Why not do it in your garage as well? This doesn't work, folks. Your garages are tough. They've got to be 100% sealed. And the weather stripping is where you're going to fail. Also, if the doors don't close and sit properly when closed, you'll have that space in this corner on either side, which will allow rodents to come in. That's why people that do exterminating will usually put rat poison on both sides of your garage door. Well, that's why. But you're just drawing them to eat poison and then go back out. And once they eat poison, you're still drawing in more mice, more mice, more mice. They're wondering where all the food is. Okay. But it's gone. So now they're going to wait until the exterminator comes back and puts more poison food in there. All right. Not a good circle, not a good scenario. So you have to fix these issues and fix your weather stripping on your guitar and your garage, and make sure the door sets properly closed. You do that, and now your garage is good. And of course, sheds. You got to just do the same thing. Make sure everything with the house, from the foundation up, it all applies to garages and sheds as well. All right. The last thing I'm going to talk about before we start going up the house, as far as the ground level external structures, um, has to do with this item right here. And let me tell you, folks, I've had more raccoon issues um, occur because of this little item right here than you could count, uh, than you could physically count, believe it or not. Okay. This probably draws more raccoons into people's yard than anything else. As you can see, the grease pans are full. They're dirty, if not full. And I'm sure the grill is also dirty. The doors were ripped off this by a raccoon to get at the grease. And this is exactly what they do. These are grease food sources for raccoons, and it'll draw possums and any other animal that um, is interested in greasy the smell of greasy food. Um, um, so you have to eliminate this after you use your grill. You have to throw away the grease pan. Get yourself a bunch of them because you're going to want to clean it every time. All right. And you're also going to want to clean your grill every time you use it. If you do that, you might be able to leave it outside. Personally, I would recommend, if you want your home to be 100% wildlife proof, that you either get yourself a really good grill cover that is secured at the bottom, or you take your grill after you use it, you clean it, and then bring it into your garage. You don't put it in your garage dirty because it's just going to still smell. The smell's going to come out of your garage, and now you're going to have raccoons scratching at your garage door and ripping your weather stripping apart because they smell grease inside your garage. Okay? You have to do it. I'm sorry. It's extra work that you probably don't want to do. Who wants to clean the grill? Let it get dirty. You're going to use it again tomorrow. Not on the eastern end of Long Island, folks, where you have over 50 raccoons per square mile. This item either needs to be clean or it's a beacon for wildlife to come and party in your yard. And where do you keep these things? You keep them on your deck. So if you're going to keep them dirty, you're going to have issues once again on your structural property. And maybe even up against your house. Because once they lick your barbecue clean on your deck, they're going to come stand at your door saying, hey, we want more. Maybe scratch at your window, the bottom of your door before you come out and scare them away. Okay, as far as decks go, folks, I think you get the point about the barbecues now, right? As far as your deck, this is beautiful, but it's not finished. You need to secure the opening at the bottom, or you're going to allow wildlife to use it as a nursery underneath. Raccoons will give birth underneath decks. The tighter the space, the better. So don't think that it's because it's so low to the ground, it won't be of interest to them. They like small spaces. Okay. How do you fix it? You eliminate the possibility of animals going underneath. Is this sufficient? Well, yeah, for big animals, the ones you don't want under there. But I can see a few spots, particularly under the right there on the front step in the very beginning. Um, I see a hole that's would allow a mouse or a rodent of any sort to get underneath there. And I also see a couple spots around these stones where they're still able to get a small mammal in that in and underneath your deck. You want to do it 100%, folks? Break out that hardware cloth. I'm going to teach you how to completely eliminate access for all animals, including mice, to get under your home. For any home that's raised up like this, or lacks a foundation and allows the little critters to get under your home, you don't want them under there, folks. They will cause many problems. Okay, so this is how you do it. You use hardware cloth. And how do you do that? Well, putting it in the ground is the most important part. All right. So as you see here, we dig a trench. Usually a foot will do. Anything deeper is just better, but a foot is certainly will be sufficient enough. Okay. And what that is for is to allow you to take that hardware cloth, go below the ground surface. Okay. You bend that cloth at a 90-degree angle, and most folks will just bury it from there. Okay. Personally, what I always did is I'd some pre-mixed cement, uh, just the powder. I'd pour it right over the in that trench over the wire. Then I take a 5 gallon uh, thing of water and just put enough water so that when I took a stick and just stirred up that premix with that water of cement, I created a cement mixture, very sloppy, but over that wire and the ground. Not only is it going to keep it down flat, but it's also going to create another deterrent for animals who are very persistent in digging. And the only animal that would be that is a fox, groundhog, or a raccoon. Okay, in that order. So, will they dig farther than a foot? Most won't. But when they do, if they start dragging their nails across concrete and this fencing, that's going to be a major deterrent. Okay, particularly with raccoons. Raccoons are extremely intelligent. They're smart. They have a great memory. And that works for you because one thing they do lack most is patience. If they can't get to what they want um, quick and fast, they're going to go somewhere else and try it there. Okay, so that works in your favor because again, you secure your home the way I'm telling you. They're going to walk into your yard. They're going to take a look up against your house. They're going to make an attempt to do something, fail. They're going to say, "This isn't the place for me." They're going to go to your neighbor's house or somewhere else. Okay, and that's what you want. But you even get a bonus because raccoons have great memories. They remember things up to 3 years, scientists say. Okay. So if they can remember how to undo locks and picks and some complex door latches, they're certainly going to remember your house is not an accommodating location for their interest. So for 3 years, they're going to remember not to even bother going and messing with your home as long as you keep it all secure, right? So this is very important when you're doing this type of trench fencing, which I'm going to say a couple times during this program. This is what it is. And it's simple and it's super duper effective. Okay. And pretty inexpensive. Takes a lot. Takes your time more than anything. And of course, once you don't even have to wait for the concrete to dry in that trench. Once you spread it out and get it all everywhere, start filling in that hole. Pack it down real good. Maybe throw some stones in there to make it even less accommodating for digging. And you've got yourself a fantastic ground barrier that well, critters are not going to be able to dig under to gain access onto your home or your deck or your shed or anything like that. Okay. And then, of course, you see the wire comes up to the wood part of the ground level floor and it's secured properly with screws and washers. Okay. So, this is 100% here, folks. You've now pretty much secured everything around your the lower portion of your home and your property. Okay. So now we're going to go to the next little bugger that we're going to talk about and make sure we can eliminate. We've already done a lot of work. So as we progress with the different animals now, you're going to realize it's going to go faster because what we did for one animal applies to the next. Okay. So the next one is the little brown bat. Okay. They can get in your house or outside of your house and cause issues. But you've already done 100% external seal. You've made sure your Bilco door and your basement windows are all secure. You got a chimney cap, right? So you don't have to worry about them getting in your chimney. Well, if you don't, okay, that's what you want to do. Very inexpensive, easy to put on yourself. They come in every shape and size for multiple stacks. And if you're not comfortable enough to do something like this on your own, um, you don't like heights or being on the roof or ladders, it certainly wouldn't take a handyman long to assemble one of these. And these are lifesaver, folks. They keep everything out of your chimney. And there's lots of things that want to be in your chimney, as you're going to realize as I go along here. So make sure that wire mesh around your chimney cap is fine enough. This is actually looks a little bit too big for me. I'd want it a little bit finer. And do not cover your chimney with just simple hardware cloth. Okay, anything that's just going to lay flat horizontal like that is not good because when it snows and a freezing rain, that could very easily cover and clog those quarter-inch holes in the hardware cloth, and you're going to get some bad back backdraft and poison from carbon monoxide. So you do not want to mess with your exhaust. Okay, make sure you do it properly and use a chimney cap. Okay. So look, again, you've eliminated um, all the holes in your foundation. Okay, you're secure, your chimney's secure, your bilko's secure, and let's say you've done all the roof work as well, which we're getting close to talking about. Okay, once you've done that, you've pretty much eliminated any possibility for bats to get inside of your home. Okay, so you won't have to wake up early in the morning and see this creature flying around your bedroom. Which, in fact, when you do, of course, it's intimidating. But these creatures are not in your room, flying around your light, looking to get tangled in your hair and land on your leg and suck the blood out of you like a vampire. That's all a lot of bull, a lot of lore. Um, and so don't be crazy about that. I actually had a customer call me at 2 in the morning. Said she had her and her daughter in a closet. The front door was open. There was a bat flying around the house, and could I come over and get it out? And when I do, I can knock on the coat closet door, let them know so that they can come out because they weren't going to come out of the closet until I handled everything. They were wonderful, very wonderful people. It was a good visit, but certainly unnecessary for all that dramatics. Had they only been educated properly, they wouldn't have had to have been so fearful. Okay, but of course you've eliminated all those things outside. Let's say we've eliminated the things we haven't talked about on the roof section yet, like putting hardware cloth up on your gable vents. And really, that's the main entry when it comes to bats getting in your house. So once you've solved that issue, you will not have bats in your house. The only other problem I actually run into more than bats in the house are bats under the fascia. Okay. Bats will get under, sometimes fascia boards aren't put flush up against the exterior wall, and there's a space. This space is perfect for bats. They love it. It perfectly mimics what they would want naturally. Okay, a nice tight space to crawl up into. The problem is when they poop, their poop has a different consistency. Um, uh, it's kind of a wetter poop, and of course, it's called guano, and it will create a liquid trail down the side of your siding before it reaches the ground where most of the solid stuff will sit. So it's a little bit messy. It will stain siding and paint. So you see any signs of that, you're going to want to eliminate that, and that would be if you see guano or bat poop right on the right close up against the house below a fascia that has this type of space. Okay, how do you fix that? Well, of course, you make sure that there's no bats in there. Best done after dusk, but you certainly could shoot some air up there gently, or maybe a small stream of water or something to get them to come out, flush them out before you do something. That will eliminate the problem from reoccurring, and that is to get yourself some ultrafine plastic bird mesh. Okay, bird netting. I hate this stuff, folks. Okay, I don't really recommend you use it to cover your bushes. I don't recommend it because birds get caught in it. Reptiles like snakes get caught in it. I've had to remove many a snake out of the stuff because it was hanging on the ground. They go through it until their midsection, which is more thicker, comes out, and they try to back out through a different hole. Next thing you know, they're constricted by this really sharp, thin plastic material. So I only recommend it for using what I'm telling you now, and that is rip a nice piece off wad it really tight and stuff it up in that fascia space. Okay, you won't see it, so it's very, as far as appearance wise, it's going to look just fine, and it's going to eliminate the space. So bats will not be able to get up in there, and they won't want to try. It'll be like it's blocked. So it's a great product for that reason and that reason only. I wouldn't use it for anything else, folks, really. It's not really good for the wildlife. And of course, you want to throw a bat house up. Well, why not? Put it about 20 to 30 feet away from your home, and the bats will use it. Guarantee. I've got one myself. They use it all the time. We see the bats eating the bugs every night, and then we have no issues around the house because they use the bat house. Okay. And as far as lights, I highly recommend you change your outdoor lights to yellow bug lights. Not only will it keep the insects from coming around due to bright lights, but it also eliminates that atmospheric bright light for your neighbors and such. And um, you keep the bugs away. You're going to keep the bats away from your being right near your door when you open and close it, when you have bright lights going. Okay. These are great products, and now they make them in LEDs, so there's no reason why you wouldn't use them. They're just great for deterring flying insects and um, really a great thing to add when you're trying to uh, rig your home for not having issues with bugs and other nuisance pests. Okay, folks, now we're going to talk about, we're going to move up the house. Now we're up to the gutter line. All right, we're going to talk about, we talked about the fascia board. Now we're going to talk about soffit venting, and we're going to talk about all venting that happens above the gutter line. And this is really important. This is going to be your issues with squirrels and raccoons that make it to the roof line. But we're going to eliminate all that. We're going to teach you how to eliminate all that so you don't have to worry. But you want to make sure your soffits are in good condition, as well as all your other venting, including your gable venting. Okay, that's your gable vent. Doesn't matter what material it is, folks. I don't care if it's wood, metal, plastic. The animals can break through it. They'll break through it, and that will be their access into your home. Okay. And if you don't have a wire mesh on either the front or back or both, then any flying animal, including flying squirrels and bats, will be able to use this for entry. And if you look on the left bottom of that, you'll see the two little spaces, one at the bottom near the fascia and one at where the soffit stops. There's an opening there. So those two openings right there would absolutely allow wildlife that lands on your roof. That's instant access into your home, into your attic space. So those are the things you do not want folks to see when you're looking at your roof line. Okay? But of course, again, folks, if you can keep animals from climbing up above your gutter line, you don't have to worry about your roof, except for one animal, of course, that we're going to be talking about in a bit. But all the other animals that can't reach your roof, that can't get above your gutter line, you've now eliminated wildlife issues inside your home. All right. So this is very important, this part. All right. So let's start with the soffits. These type of soffits, crap. Get rid of them. They're too big. You don't need them that big. And they're made of a very weak aluminum material that allows raccoons to easily penetrate. Okay. So you have to have the right soffits. Plastic, of course, can be chewed through, both wood and plastic. by squirrels. They'll gnaw holes in anything. Okay, you don't want to give them that opportunity. Now, where you have issues like this, where the roof is below soffit areas, it's horrible because now not only do you have weak soffits, but you have leverage below it for an animal to stand there and simply just push upon that soffit and open it up. This was actually a repaired hole. As you can see, the hardware cloth in the bottom part of the picture. Well, the repair didn't last too long at all because it's just crap soffit. There's nothing holding that soffit on the edges except that overlapping metal piece. Okay? So this is not good soffit, folks. What's good soffit? That's good soffit. Okay? It's not one big piece, it's a bunch of small pieces that are um, um, put together, and the strength is a lot better because of that. You could see it that the seam and the edges are also at the angle. It's secured even stronger with that piece of molding, and then of course you see uh, the uh, um, uh, the flaps of the edges go underneath and then are secured with screws. They're not just left to balance on top of them. Okay, they're secured. They're secured properly. So animals can't simply pull the materials apart. That's a great soffit, folks. This is also a good soffit, and it's been around for a long time. Why is it good? Well, it's thin. Okay, so it doesn't accommodate allowing animals to get to simply get through it, and it's in the middle of a large soffit. Okay, not a good location for an animal to properly get positioned to be able to breach this type of a soffit. All right. So make sure your soffit in those round ones, those little round ones that you'll see, those round ones, if they're not properly adhesed up against the wood, most times they're just pushed in place. They're not even glued in place. You can pull them right out. Okay. Make sure they are glued in place. And if they're not, you can absolutely be sure a squirrel's going to figure it out and pop one out for an easy hole. Okay. Let's get to your gutter line, folks. You lift up that first flap that of shingle down at your gutter line above your gutter. You're going to see this. There's a space that's for venting. Okay, no good, no good. You want to eliminate that space, or you want to be certain that the wood or the tile shingle eliminates that space. Because as you see here, all the animal had to do was chew away that asphalt shingle and a little bit of the wood, and they gained access into your attic because the hole's already there. It's just been covered up with the shingle. All right. This is common, and I don't think it's necessary. So if it is, perhaps before the shingle is laid down, some hardware cloth can be properly installed over this, so it'll allow the ventilation, but it will not allow access being able for an animal to be able to penetrate it when the shingle is ripped away. Okay, because remember, once you're above the gutter line, this is where 90% of the damage occurs. Okay, above the gutter line. And here's where it starts. So, folks, make sure you eliminate that type of access, or eliminate all issues of animals getting to that point, which we're going to talk about shortly. Okay, here's another one where the roof below the one dormer soffit has been breached. Okay, big area. And both of those pictures I just showed you, this one and the one prior, you probably wouldn't be able to see from the ground. Okay. So you're looking up in your roof, wondering where a hole is because you hear the noises at night, but you don't see anything. So sometimes, folks, you might have to get up on a ladder and really inspect your roof properly to look for these type of things that might be hidden, um, um, and uh, uh, and that are causing the issue. Okay, folks. Now we're going to talk about the roofs. We're almost done with the house, and then we'll see how many animals we've eliminated. Okay, from getting into it. So let's talk about roofs. There's plenty of roofs. You got your cedar shake shingle roof. You got stone roofs made of stone tile. Know people have metal roofs, tin roofs, but cedar shake shingle and asphalt shingled roofs are pretty much the two most common that we deal with, particularly when it comes to nuisance wildlife control. Okay, and why is that? Well, quite simply, let's begin with the cedar shake shingle roofs. Okay, what's under those shingles? Well, here it shows you. Here's a new roof being built, and it shows you what's underneath the shingle. And what you got are these boards that go crossways like this, and they're called lathe. And the lathe is not tight together. It allows plenty of space in between so that when one of these shingles are popped off, you have instant access into the attic. Not only animals, but the elements. Okay. And although they have started to make a much thicker and heavier and stronger grade of roof shingle for the very reason of nuisance wildlife control, still many houses have the old shingles, the weak shingles, and it's just a matter of time um, before the roof is breached if it hasn't been multiple times already. Okay, and we all know what that looks like because we see buildings like this all the time. And this would, in fact, be seeing the scratch marks to the right. This would be an area where it was obvious a raccoon had ripped the shingles out, gained access to the roof through the lathe, and had to be patched afterwards. And of course, you're going to have a different color shingle because the others are weathered. Okay. Here's a picture of an old roof that is being removed. You can once again see the space in between the lathe. Now, how do you eliminate that? Well, you can certainly put the lathe together better and eliminate such a big space. Okay. Personally, from an architectural standpoint, if you really want to eliminate and use cedar shake shingle and the proper space between lathe, and you want to make sure animals can't get through if they rip shingles off, you would cover the entire roof with hardware cloth, covering the open spaces before you put the shingles down. Okay. A huge step in between putting the shingles down prior, but one that will save you thousands and thousands um, um, down the road. Okay. And certainly will save your attic from destruction. So use heavier grade shingles, folks. And if you can fix that lathe, eliminate that space a little better, you could do so. When they have asphalt shingle roofs, they have the same problems. Okay. Um, Usually underneath the asphalt shingle roof, you have plywood. So you don't have the space created by lathe. Okay. But that doesn't mean animals aren't going to try pulling up the asphalt shingles, as you can see here. Okay. And sometimes it'll get so bad that you will have the same type of repair color patching like this. And you'll know that's because animals have tried or have been successful in getting through your asphalt shingle roof because it is possible. Okay. Or it can even get bad like this. Okay. Now here, plywood wasn't used, but rather wood. I don't know what type of wood that was. Looks like maybe 1x6 or something. I don't know, but clearly the raccoon was able to rip up enough um, of the asphalt shingle and then started working on a little hole where the space was. Given a little more time, he probably would have been successful. Well, he definitely would have been successful. And then, of course, this type of stuff creates water leakage, and water leakage on plywood is going to create holes anyway. So, regardless, whether it's cedar shake shingle or asphalt shingle, you're going to want to properly maintain them, upkeep them properly, and keep animals from reaching them to alleviate damage that they cause or residual damage from their damage, which would create water leakage, which you're seeing here when a new roof was having to been put on because of water leakage caused by wildlife trying to get through the plywood. Okay, and folks, they can do it. Have no doubt about that. They can go through the asphalt shingle and the plywood to get into your attic. It's not difficult. It takes them some time, but they certainly have the physical tools to do it, and they will do it. Okay, so you want to once again, the purpose is to keep them below the gutter line, keeping them off the roof, and allowing them to have their way with your roof, regardless of the material. All right, folks, we're getting to the crown of the roof. Very important because it's coming up on this animal. I keep telling you that you're going to have difficulty keeping below your gutter line. All right, and this is a major flaw uh, in roof venting, in my opinion, because it's the number one way these animals can get in. Okay, and that's crown venting. Folks, you take the crown shingles off your crown vented uh, crown of your roof, and this is what's underneath. Okay, access into your attic, clear as day. That's what the top shingles are doing. They are allowing space so that the air that comes in from the soffits, the hot air from the attic, goes up to the highest point and releases out of your crown venting. Okay, or other venting that you might have in your roof, but crown venting is very popular. All right, so what is crown venting? Well, here's a piece of it. And as you can see, that venting part is nothing but plastic, and plastic that can be chewed by a number of animals uh, that get on your roof. Okay, whether it's raccoons or flying squirrels or what have you. This is material that can be breached easily. And once they breach the plastic, they have gained access to your attic. Period. Okay? All right. So now that's why we don't like crown venting. How for those who have crown venting and have problems with it, how you going to fix that? Well, the only way you can fix it is one of two ways. You eliminate the crown venting and have different venting put on your roof, okay? Or you take hardware cloth and completely cover the entire length of your crown venting. Okay, that'll continue to allow the venting and will keep everything from being able to breach that area and chew at that plastic and what have you. And folks, you might say to yourself, "Oh, but that's going to look so ugly." No, believe me. Whether you're covering a gable vent with hardware cloth or you're covering an entire length of crown molding or crown venting, with it that high at 23 gauge, and if you have to paint it to the proper color, sometimes you don't even have to. It literally becomes invisible from the ground. Okay. So it's really not going to be a vanity issue. You have to trust me. If you don't believe me, grab yourself a piece of hardware cloth, throw it up on the roof, and from below, tell me how much you can see it. You'd be surprised. It literally becomes invisible. Okay. So, what's your alternatives, or what are other some ways that crown venting can be eliminated? Well, there are other ways. Okay. Here you see the crown venting. Okay. Very easy to be breached because it's just plastic. All right. But you also see these other venting. You see the plumber's vent on one side has a nice cap on it. Usually they're open. They don't lead it to anywhere but the water in your plumbing. So any animal that goes down there will usually die. But you don't want them in there because it's actually uh, um, an air vacuum. So, uh, it will create odors if you allow animals to get in it. So you can put some hardware cloth over that or some sort of a cap. And you also see on the left side, you see another type of venting that I hate, but it does work and allows you to eliminate the crown venting. Okay. These vents are really bad, though. Animals can go underneath them. I actually had one that had an electric fan that would turn on automatically inside the attic, had a temperature control. So when the attic got to a certain temperature, these fans would go off and start, pulling the hot air out through these vents. Well, a raccoon ripped the top off of one of these, waited for the fan to stop working, took the blade of the fan, bent it completely 90 degrees. So when it did turn back on, it was blocked by the little metal bar that was used for installation. So the fan was no longer operating and made a perfect little opening for the raccoon to go in and out. Well, the people couldn't understand it because the fan, as far as they were concerned, was still working. They heard it turn on and they heard it turn off. So they couldn't understand what was going on until I got up there and told them that, yeah, it was still working, but the fan wasn't actually spinning. It was just turning on and then getting jammed up against the installation metal. So um, these things need to be addressed properly. Okay. Once again, remember our objective is to keep animals from getting above the gutter line, so we don't have to deal with these issues. But if animals do get above them, um, we want to make sure they don't breach our roofs through these simple ways. Okay, and as you can see here, another useless vent was became a door, simple door passageway into the attic. Okay, just not reasonable on the eastern end of Long Island to have these types of venting. In other places, yeah, it's fine, but I'm eliminating your nuisance wildlife issues on the eastern end of Long Island. That's a big deal, folks. All right, so that's why I'm going through this whole process here. All right. What can you do? What is a way to solve all this? Well, go back to your venting like this. Eliminate that crown venting, and then do something like this. Okay, that's some great venting right there. All right. You see, they eliminated the crown venting. They put multiple, probably more than they needed, roof vents, and then they covered them with these cages. All right. Now, unfortunately, the mesh on these cages needs to be a little smaller. Needs to be like hardware cloth size, quarter inch, and they're available. And you'll see why. I got two more slides. Then I'm gonna introduce you to that animal that can easily get on your roof, and which you have to be certain to Fort Knox your roof, or else these animals are going to create a headache for you. But let's once real quickly talk about the last venting we need to be concerned about, and that is your gable venting. Your gable venting is probably the easiest venting to secure. Okay. Again, like I told you, it doesn't matter if it's metal, okay, wood, plastic, doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter if you have a fiberglass screening on the backs of them or on the back or the front, they will be breached. So you need to simply put hardware cloth on the back of them from the inside and on the outside. You do that, you never have to worry about your gable vents again. As far as the vanity issue, believe me, on this type of a setup, you paint that gate, you paint the hardware cloth gray. You're never going to see it. You leave it alone, leave it galvanized. You're still never going to see it. Okay, it's up too high, and the contrast to a dark paint is going to render that gable vent invisible, but 100% impenetrable. Okay, and that's what you need. This garbage right here looks fantastic. How awesome does that look? Looks great, but it's completely inviting to a raccoon, and it will get breached. Okay, raccoon gets on the roof, can easily get down onto that shenanigans, uh, that's decorative shenanigans below the roof edge. Okay, which then they can easily hop onto the top or any part of that gable vent that has all sorts of stepping ridges on it. And then those wood slats, if they're wood or plastic, will easily be ripped away and become an open door now for a raccoon. So, as good as this looks, it's probably the worst case scenario for gable vents and wildlife. Okay. Why are we so why if I've kept you from getting animals, if I can get you to keep animals from getting to your roof line, why is it still important that the roof is secure? Well, the reason is because of this one animal that you folks have on the eastern end of Long Island, and is starting to. Well, it's always been there, but most people didn't know about it. Now they've got quite a population that more and more people are learning about them quite quickly. And quite frankly, from a trapper standpoint of view, they're probably the most nightmarish animals to have in your attic. They're cute as a button, but what they do in your attic will drive you completely bananas. And they're very difficult to get rid of. Probably one of the worst animals to have to evict from your attic space. So you're going to want to take extra precautions to make sure they do not breach your roof. And that would be the uh, flying squirrel, whether it's the northern or southern version. I believe we're the northern. However, the cusp is so close to us, we could literally probably get both species. But we have this species. This is what it looks like. Okay, they will climb up your trees in your yard, simply high enough to glide, 80 feet or so or more down onto your roof. And once they're on your roof, they have no reason to have climbed up there. They're immediately on your roof, and now they're looking for a way to get in. If you have crown venting, they're going to go right to the crown, start chewing that plastic, and within 5 minutes, they're in. Okay. So, these are the critters you want to make sure your roof is secure from. That includes your gable vents and your gutter line and any roof venting, and particularly that crown venting if you have it. You, better have that thing hardware cloth, or these buggers are going to get in. And they are a nightmare when they get in because they don't come by themselves, they bring the entire family. Families turn into colonies. They love birthing in the attic spaces, and they are strictly nocturnal animals, which means they will sleep all day and they will make racket all night long. And these animals don't just clomp around like a raccoon, they go ballistic in your attic. You'll hear bing, bing, bing in all areas from one side of your house to the other. Um, they will go in and out all night long, getting food, coming back, uh, and this will go on from dusk to dawn. Okay. The worst part about that is they poop where they live. Okay. Their poop is a little bit different than regular squirrel poop. It's a little bit more liquidy, not like a bat, but it stays moist longer. And the problem with flying squirrels is they will find a latrine area in your attic and they will specifically use that spot. And the poop will pile up. I've literally had to remove poop with a shovel. It was literally 8 feet deep in a rafter section in an attic. Had to scoop it up with the shovel and put it in a bag. It was that thick. They get to a point where it gets too high, and then they'll go find another area. But folks, this poop is not good to have around in your on top of your insulation, or simply just to be in a space in your house. Okay, might not be your living space, but it is your space where you might have your heating ducts up there. Um, and if you ever get a hole or a breach in any of your ductwork, you certainly don't want dust fragments or anything, or smell, or fragments of any fecal matter from any animal living in your attic to get sucked into uh, your ductwork and uh, spread into your living space. Okay, that's not what you want. So you got to keep these animals out. For any animals that are in your attic presently that you want to get out before you make any repairs that I've told you about, I would suggest highly that you go get yourself a $10 strobe light off of Amazon. These are great. You don't have to use a transistor radio and stick it up there where you can hear it at night yourself. Put one of these up there, okay? Animals hate strobe lights, particularly nocturnal animals. They're not going to want to be in the same area as this thing going on all night. Okay, so try that before you try anything else. Even if you have raccoons in your attic now, you might want to just simply put a strobe light on there, turn it on, and forget about it. Because that raccoon's fixing to take her babies, take them out one by one and find a location that isn't flashing constantly and annoying them. All right. So um, we have now eliminated, because I've told you about the flying squirrel, we've eliminated all the venting on the roof, so you don't have to be worry about that animal anymore. Now you just got to keep everything from reaching your gutter line. All right. And let's start with the gray squirrel. All right. The gray squirrel is going to cause issues in your soffit area, but you've got it all taken care of. You've sealed the outside of your house 100%. You've got no vegetation ladders. You've kept all the trees 16 to 18 feet away from your house. So these animals can't even get on your roof. They can't climb up to your roof. Okay. And this is where you want to start using the peppermint oil. Okay, folks. Anywhere you don't that you've any area that you've cleaned up around your foundation, around your deck, your barbecue, all the things that we talked about, give them a good dosing of peppermint oil. Okay, spray around the foundation, that stone easement, spray those rocks with peppermint oil. The rain's not going to bother it the first couple times. It's going to be great. It's going to the rodents and small mammals and most animals do not like the smell of peppermint or eucalyptus oil. So these are good things to uh, um, organic, non-chemical liquid to use as a great preventative for all wildlife. Okay, spray it anywhere you think you're going to have issues or anywhere an animal is showing interest, and you're going to eliminate that interest. Okay, you can even soak cotton balls in peppermint oil and put them in your attic spaces to prevent or eliminate animals that are already in there, so you can make repairs. Um, okay, so very important. Let me see. Um, yep, eliminate your bird feeders because that draws squirrels. Of course, we know that. And the tree issue we've talked about. I'm going to tell you folks now um, two other little formulas you're going to want to get to help with pest control and nuisance wildlife control. The first one, get yourself a spray bottle and make a formula. And the formula is going to be 4 cups of water, 1 ounce of hot sauce, and 3 drops of dish soap. Okay, shake that up, and you now have the best, you have the absolute best wildlife control formula that you can get anywhere. You can't even buy a formula like this, it works so good. Okay, and you're going to want to spray all areas that you've seen animals trying to breach or you want to keep them away, including vegetation and plants. Okay, you can spray this on plants, makes it very distasteful to animals, and they smell it from a distance, so they don't get to eat it first. So keep this formula on hand, folks. 4 cups of water, 1 ounce of hot sauce, 3 drops of dish soap. This stuff is the best. The best. Okay. And the other item you want to get for animals that chew on your wood or attempt to, or are finding certain areas interesting, is cayenne pepper powder. Okay. Capsaicin is a great deterrent for animals. Except for birds. Birds, it does not affect birds. Sometimes even bird seed is mixed with cayenne pepper. So wildlife will stay out of bird seed. That's fine if you want to use that in your bird feeders. And I should say your bird feeder because we're not going to overdo it, right? We're going to use 1 feeder. We don't need 5 feeders. Okay. So, the cayenne's going to be your best friend. All right. You see a mouse hole in your yard, sprinkle a little cayenne pepper in it. You see a mole hole uh, prior to a tunnel, you might want to put a little bit of cayenne pepper on there. Okay. This will help very much. Okay, especially for animals that preen themselves and walk on it, and then they lick their hands and feet to start preening themselves. They're going to get a surprise and not want to go back in that area where you've laid the cayenne pepper. All right, folks. We've eliminated mice, bats, flying squirrels, and gray squirrels. All right, we've made your yard very unalluring to wildlife. Yet, if they still find your home is interesting and they come close, they're going to find nothing from the ground up. All right. The foundation is all sealed. You've eliminated all interest of animals from the exterior wall right up to your gutter line. All right. But then again, you've continued to do work. You've made your soffits proper. You've protected them from um, being able to be reached by animals and get breached. And you went above the gutter line. You made sure your roof and all the venting is unbreachable. Your chimney has a cap on it, you're sitting pretty good. What do you got to worry about? Well, you got to worry about one animal, the animal that has the strength to change these scenarios. Okay. And that animal would be the one we want to keep off our homes, particularly our roofs, most. And that's the raccoon, folks. Okay. 35 years of wildlife removal has all been humane and organic. Everything I'm telling you here, folks, you're not having to hurt, injure, or kill anything. No animals are being killed. This is all humane solutions. and no chemicals, completely 100% organic. You're using peppermint oil, eucalyptus oil, you're using some cayenne pepper so far. Okay, so we're moving along great, just the way we want to, environmentally friendly, even. All right, so how do you know you have raccoon problems? Well, it's pretty easy, particularly outside. But if you go up in your attic because you heard noises up there and thumping around, well, it's probably time to go outside and look for holes in your roof. If you find insulation on your front lawn or your back lawn, that might make you want to look up to your roof line and try to spot a hole. If you can't find any, you certainly want to take a ladder up and check your gutter lines to make sure that's not where the hole was made. Check your vents and then look for any droppings on the roof. You'll certainly find those if you have issues with wildlife on your roof. Okay, and then lastly, of course, you'll see paw prints and claw marks on the downspouts and roof edges where they've tried to gain the access to your roof. Okay, right for starters, folks, on the eastern end of Long Island, this is what you'll see on your roof. When you see this on your roof, you know you have a lot of activity. Okay, whether they've breached it or not, raccoons like to tend at night to stay in high places. It gives them a good perspective down below to see where they're going to become a nuisance. All right. So all this poop up here is in the crease of the roofs, and that's going to allow water drainage to take the poop and fragments of that right down to your gutters. Okay, disgusting. Down your gutters, down to the ground where other animals can be lured to it. Of course, you don't want your pets near it, and you certainly don't want your kids picking up a dried raccoon turd and saying, "Mommy, what is this?" Um, Not good. Very bad. Raccoon poop is very dangerous. It carries a round worm called Bailey procyon. Okay, and it can cause some very serious issues with encephalitis of the brain. Um, very deadly if ingested. So you want to keep this away from your mouth area or any possibilities of it getting there. Okay, you see this kind of stuff, or maybe you see some paw prints outside on your wall or your door or your deck that clearly show you have raccoons. You might want to take a walk up into your attic. You might see those same footprints on your heating ducts. If you do, those heating ducts are probably um, not in one piece anymore. We'll talk about that in a minute. Um, because you're going to want to repair those real quick. Of course, you're going to see poop on the inside of the attic too, because raccoons will poop inside the nurseries that they have created in your attic. They don't eat there, so they can poop there. They won't eat where they won't poop where they eat, but they don't eat in these attics. These are nurseries, okay? This is where they're birthing their young. Of course, they're feeding their young, but nursing only. Um, it's disgusting, folks. You don't want this in your attic. Does carry those roundworms. Doesn't matter how old it is. The roundworm eggs remain dormant in this type of filth, and it can get really, really bad over time. Okay, this is an attic that was neglected after many years of raccoons breaching the roof. Okay, you can see the musky oil from the raccoon on the wood. That does not go away, folks. That is absorbed into the wood. It is does remain. Smell will remain, and it will be on a nice hot day. You will that aroma will go out the gable vents, and it'll draw raccoons up to a mile away. Certainly, raccoons that are in the neighborhood will catch the smell, and it'll draw them right to your attic. Probably through the area that the smell is escaping, the gable vent. So we want to make sure we don't allow them to reach our roof, particularly our gable vent areas. I would highly suggest when you get into this situation where you've had raccoon problems up in your area and they've left this musk on your wood, to replace the wood. It's the only way you're going to eliminate that lure. Okay? It's the only way, folks. Otherwise, you're going to have that lure and you're going to have to Fort Knox your house from the outside. Okay. Look at the wires there, too. Look at all that filth on the wires. That could be sebum from mice running back and forth over the wire, or it could be from raccoons rubbing up against it in and out as they use this area for their latrine. Okay. Either way, no good, folks, because if they get to your heating ducts and they rip it open, forget what you see in the foreground. Look at the one up above. Sometimes they'll rip them open to warm up the attic space during the winter. Okay. Yet the heat will still go across and reach into the other vent. So you'll be downstairs and you'll put your hand on the vent and you'll go, "Oh, I feel air coming out of here." Okay. It's just not as strong, but it must be working. I'll have to call the heating guy. All right. He's going to go upstairs and he's going to see this mess and go, "My goodness, are you've got a mess up there." Okay. And what's worse is when you have poop like this all over your insulation up above, well, all the fragmenting of that poop that floats in the air gets sucked into your vent, your heating ducts, okay? And will then get broadcast into your living space through the venting, which is extremely dangerous. And you don't want that to happen. And it's very common. So, folks, you need to eliminate raccoons from getting to your attic space, which is keeping them from getting on your roof and keeping them away from your house. All right. We know that raccoons are trying to get up to your roof line by when you see these marks on your wood around your house. These are raccoon marks made by their front paws. They will grab one end of a 45 on one side, the other side, and they will literally shimmy up any 45 of your house this way. I've actually seen raccoons climb up a flat exterior brick wall using just the cement in between to grab onto and climb up. Took them a while, but it was possible, and it was quite amazing. So when you see these, we're going to show you how to keep raccoons from climbing, and that's going to cover and eliminate all animals from getting up to your roof. Here's another picture of a little guy waiting for his mommy, I'm sure, to come back. But you can see the musky oil on the top part of that 2x6, um, which is going to need to be either replaced or cut away or sprayed with peppermint oil profusely uh, to um, to make the smell of peppermint stronger than that musk smell. Yes, if you spray peppermint oil on the wood, it will get absorbed just like the musk wood will. But the amount you're going to have to use will be determined by the amount of smell in your attic. And of course, we see the wire that the little guy is next to is also covered with that same musky filth. Okay. So the wires could use some replacement either. I know it's a big hassle. That's why you want to keep these guys out of your attic. You know, people that have these problems year after year, year after year, and they have trappers take care of the raccoon part of it. Yeah, they get rid of the raccoons, but all the damage done in the attic usually gets left there. You get left with spaces of insulation not there. Other is so soiled beyond recognition, and it creates dangers of the filth up there being sucked into your heating ducts. And then you've got the musk all over the wood, which is consistently luring other animals outside to that attic space. So, one bad raccoon issue in your attic can create decades of residual problems. That's why you either correct them or you make your house Fort Knox, is what I'm teaching you now. Okay. Let's take a look at your fireplace. Oh my gosh, my coffee is ice cold. I'm drinking iced coffee at this point. Here's a picture of your fireplace. And I want you to know that raccoons love your fireplace. They love to use it to give birth to their young on the smoke shelf, okay, right behind the flue. And a lot of folks think, oh, when they come home and they hear the raccoon, they might light a fire. That's going to scare them out. Not in most cases. If the smoke shelf is properly behind the fuel of the damper in the flue, has a great draft. The fire and smoke will be maybe discomfort, but depending on the strength of the draft, it's not going to cause a smoke issue at all. Um, and usually the raccoons will be able to sit it out. However, you don't want them in there, and you certainly don't want to cook raccoons in your fireplace. That's going to cause more problems, whether they're alive or dead, sitting on the smoke shelf. You want to use a chimney cap, chimney cap with a mesh tight enough not to allow bats or flying squirrels to breach your chimney. But certainly, you don't want raccoons because they will walk down the flue tile liner excess concrete and use that easily to climb up. They don't even need that for aid. They simply can walk up one side while putting their back on the other side of the flue and shimmy up that way. But they will use the chimneys when the opportunities are there. So, to avoid this, I suggest highly you get a proper chimney cap to eliminate that. And folks, I don't care what you're told about during the winter, leaving your flue open. Don't do it. Close your flue. If anything breaches, your chimney cap or a big wind happens to blow it off for some reason, whatever the case may be, you are not going to want that flue open if some critter is able to get down and gain access to your home. It will be a nightmare, folks, believe me. Okay. And don't think a raccoon can't break through your crown venting either. These animals are very strong. If they can't rip it apart, they will chew it apart. You could see here he chewed a nice piece of 3/4 inch plywood, press board plywood, just made short work of it, enough for him to be able to gain access and then allow other access for other animals as well. Here's a little short 1 minute video I put together showing you all the different avenues animals, raccoons have breached roofs. Okay. And now I'm fixing to tell you how to eliminate it once and for all. How do I keep the raccoons from climbing up my house? I've eliminated the trees. I have no branches touching my roof, but these raccoons are still able to climb up my house to get above the gutter line and create problems. How is this possible? How are they continually able to get above the gutter line, gain access to my roof, and create all these problems? Well, it's because they can. All right. They have the ability to climb and maneuver in the most amazing ways. The only way to stop them is one way. And it's a way that I've been doing the entire time I was living in the Hamptons, operating Hampton Wildlife Removal and Rescue, as well as the nonprofit Wildlife Rescue of East Hampton. When I wanted to guarantee somebody who's had years and years of raccoon issues, I would offer them a absolute fix. And that was with a product called Bird Spikes that we've all heard, but a particular one by a company called Nixolite. Nixolite makes a bird spike that is an excellent deterrent for climbing animals, and it can be pretty much installed anywhere and everywhere it needs to be. This is the sharp pointed version. They are very sharp. I've impaled it in my hand many times during installation. And let me tell you, these stainless steel buggers will go through you and you won't even know it. That's how sharp they are until you look at your hand and see it coming out the other side. They do make a much safer non blunt tip spike version, which I would recommend for bird issues because there's no reason to harm the animals that get on them. But I have to tell you, folks, that when it comes to raccoons and squirrels, for that matter, you are going to want to get the sharp, pointy uh, option on bird spikes. It is absolutely necessary because if you get the blunt ends, the raccoons will climb right over it. They will take the discomfort of the poking, but the sharp poking ones that will puncture the skin, they will feel it immediately and they will retreat. They will not injure themselves further after feeling the sharp points of these stainless steel buggers. They are 100% working deterrents. They are absolutely 100% effective. It all depends on how you install them. And that's what I made a profession in my business on, is finding the best ways to install them in the right spots to make your home 100% raccoon proof. And you can do it, folks. Okay, you just got to cut these things in half. They actually sell them in small strips as well. Um, you can get, let me see, what was it? 80 strips, which is an equivalent to 84 feet of this stuff. But you get 80 small strips and you can bend them into 45s, put them on the 45s of your house so that, and put them up high enough. You can paint them. All right. So they aren't as visible, but you keep them away high enough so that humans can't raise their hand and touch them. But that'll allow an animal to climb up to a point when they try to cross them, they will not be able to, and they'll have to climb down. And then, of course, the patient issue kicks in again from raccoons. They don't have patience for this crap. They're just going to go to the neighbor's house and get on their roof. Okay? This is 100% working tool solution for raccoon control, keeping them off your roof. It works, folks. Okay? If you want to do it yourself, you got to be very careful. The stuff is very sharp, but once you do it, it will work. 100% all animals. Okay? Reaching the areas you don't want them to reach. This is how you do it. Okay? And if I can help you with installation, with questions about what are the best places, you can certainly send me pictures of your home, and I will absolutely mark out the locations that you need to put these strips and eliminate your raccoon issues once and for all, 100%. Okay, folks? And of course, just as a little extra, I want to tell you about these products just so you know that they're out there. Okay. They have these battery and solar powered devices that scare away a large number of wildlife. You can put them anywhere. You can put them around the perimeter of your property. You can put them around the perimeter of your home. And you can certainly put them in areas that are high interest areas where you've seen wildlife congregate, if that's the case. Usually they're multifunction. They have both strobe lighting, they're motion activated, This particular one has the strobes and the red light. Red lights are very disturbing to nighttime animals. When they see them, they try to avoid them, no matter how small they are. You've maybe seen red light devices. The only problem with them is animals get tolerant of them. They get used to seeing them. They realize that they're not dangerous, and eventually they may start to ignore them. However, that's not the case with strobe lighting, so that is very effective for deterring animals. And folks, they have so many different types of these yard deterrents. They have them with ultrasonic sound, some with audible sound deterrents as well that make hawk noises and just disturbing noises. So look into that. They're available on Amazon for all different prices. And another item that I think is invaluable nowadays, as far as keeping all animals off your property and away from your home and away from areas you don't want them, including ponds, okay, if you insist on keeping them, and that is motion activated sprinklers, water sprinklers. Okay. One is fantastic, but to have these in different areas of your yard, oh, they're amazing. They work so nice. They work so good. And of course, they don't hurt the animal. And the animals remember they're there, so they don't come back. All right. And then you get to a point where you just have to put the sprinklers out and not put the hoses to them, and animals will see them and they'll stay away. Okay. And that's how you train animals to remember that your home is not a proper place for them to be. Okay. Folks, take a picture of this. I want you to take a screenshot of this. Okay. This is a great little um, graphic here. The Humane Raccoon Proof Home. Okay, gives you a lot of great ideas as far as uh, how to a raccoon proof, and a lot of these things will also uh, um, keep other animals at bay as well. But this is a neat little graphic I thought would be very interesting for you guys to take a screenshot of and look at during time when you have time. Okay, good stuff. Good learning stuff. All right, folks, that's the raccoons. All right, we've eliminated so many animals from our property and our home. We're doing fantastic. Our home now is wildlife proof. All right. And our property is not inviting. It's very unalluring. So we've done a great job. We should now only see wildlife passing through the yard to get to other locations, which is always good and fun. It lets you know that, the wildlife is still out there. It's enjoyable. It is part of our lives. They were here long before us, and we're sharing the planet with them. So it's good to know and some of these animals are good to have around as well. Don't forget, folks. Whether it be snakes or foxes or what have you. Some of these animals are here for a purpose. Opossums, even, they will eat. They are nature's pest control. They'll eat your insects. They'll eat rodents, and they'll keep those same critters, nuisance animals, away from your home and property. Um, so they are actually working for you sometimes, but you don't want them living on your property, creating hazards or just damage or what have you. And that's what I'm talking to you about today. So let's go to the next animal, folks. Well, let's just continue with the raccoons real fast. We did everything. We put up the bird spikes. We've cut back the trees. We've got the chimney cap. We've 100% sealed the foundation and up to the gutter line, the roof. We bungeed 100% or locked our garbage can receptacles and our garbage receptacle sheds. We've eliminated the bird feeders. We pull in our pet food. We don't keep pet food outside. So, zero food, no water sources outside. We got our motion activated sprinklers going. We've sprayed peppermint oil, maybe perhaps ammonia or vinegar, cayenne pepper, whatever. All these deterrents around the perimeter. Um, and this is going to keep raccoons from destroying your house. Period. Done. It's over. No more. No more trappers. You're not going to need to call. The only thing you need to do now is inspect your home and make sure that everything we have done on your property in your home is upkept and maintained properly, more frequently than you would think because you're on the eastern end of Long Island and you don't want to give these critters an opportunity to find something before you do. So, the best thing you can do is just check your home, check your roof, look around, make sure everything looks good once a week, maybe every couple weeks. Excuse me, folks. And that'll reassure you and make sure that you continue to keep your wildlife proof home. All right. Now, foxes. That's our next animal. All right. But you're not going to have issues because you've already secured your deck with hardware cloth. You've eliminated your rodent problem. So there's really no food source for those foxes to be there. All right. But if you do have a fox that finds your deck or your yard a nice place for them to sit down, and that makes you uncomfortable, all you simply have to do is go online and get yourself some coyote urine. Coyote urine is a great um, scent deterrent for all wildlife. Okay, raccoons, groundhogs, squirrels, certainly foxes. Um, Animals smell this. That's a predator to them. They don't want to be in that area. Okay. And you can certainly broadcast. And I mean, when I say that, I mean spread it around. Um, uh, in a way that doesn't make your yard smell like urine. It only takes a little bit. Remember, an animal's sense of smell is way more powerful than ours. So just a little bit goes a long way with the coyote urine. Again, you can put them on rags or make stations filled with cotton balls soaked in them. Even use the old coffee can trick. Okay, take an old coffee can, punch holes in the plastic top, um, soak rags in coyote urine or in other cases vinegar and or peppermint oil or what have you. Put the cap back, put it in the jar, put the cap back on, and lay those coffee cans next to den openings, underneath porches, around areas of interest, of animal interest, and it'll be a grand deterrent for them. They will not tolerate the smell of uh, their number one predator nemesis being in the same area as them. So they will skedaddle. Okay. Eliminate the food sources. Of course, that's the rodents. You've already done that. So there's no reason for the foxes to be around. Make sure your shed foundations are also trench fenced. Um, Motion sensor lights, again, as well as motion sprinklers, are great to deter foxes, but any nocturnal animal that sees lights at night come on are going to be disturbed. They will take that as a warning and an opportunity to run away. Nocturnal animals come out at night for a reason. They don't like bright lights. So, motion lights coming on will certainly um, throw up a red flag for them, and they'll tend to leave the area. Again, I just said proper trench fencing around the house and the deck has eliminated any reason for worrying about that. um, Extra security on outdoor chicken pens, rabbit pens, and small pet pens. You want to use heavy duty wire mesh, maybe a thicker gauge of hardware cloth, and of course, secured trench fencing around these pens and six side security. Okay, all four walls and then floor and a roof secured by hardware cloth. You don't want to put these animals at any risk. So give them the best protection that you would expect to have for yourself and your family. Okay. Peppermint, eucalyptus oils, all that stuff can be sprayed in areas as well to keep away foxes. But I think the cayenne, not the cayenne, cayenne will work as well if you want to sprinkle that around perimeters of decks and what have you. But wherever you don't want um, uh, foxes, just use your coyote oil that or your coyote urine. That's going to pretty much tie that up. And that will do the same for the groundhogs, okay? Because they do not want that predator issue in their general area as well. And they'll be happy to move to another den. In fact, most groundhogs have multiple dens, just like foxes, in case one has issues, collapses, or floods, or gets exposed by humans and destroyed. They always have a secondary location to go to. But let's talk a little bit, just a little bit about groundhogs, okay? Um, you're not going to have to worry about them going onto your deck because you've secured your deck, right? They have no interest in destroying your home. They're interested in food. So if you have a garden or nice flowers, you have to secure them, as we talked about at the beginning. You want to keep your grass mowed short, including around your deck, and do that stone easement around the perimeter of your yard as well as your home, and that's going to deter these creatures. They're there for food. If you don't give them the food, they're going to go where there is food. Okay. But for the animals that I'm going to talk about now, like groundhogs and rabbits, for example, I'm going to introduce you to another product real quick, and that's called Mole Max. This is an outrageously good product. I used it for many, many years, and I would still use it. You can get it in, I think, online at um, Amazon. You can get a 10-pound bag for $16 of this stuff. Okay. It's more than mole and vole repellent. It's much more, because anything that walks along the ground and preens themselves are going to be walking on this stuff. First of all, it's a granular. It's all natural, no chemicals. Okay, and it's a granular, meaning you're going to need a spreader. Get yourself a lawn spreader, and you can broadcast this stuff on your entire lawn. Okay. It would be best to do it before rain because it's even works better when it's watered into the lawn. You don't have to. You can wait for the rain to water it in. It'll still be effective on the surface, but this stuff will last pretty much 3 to 6 months. In some cases, we've had it last up to 9 months. Okay. One broadcasting's worth. All right. The main ingredient is castor oil. Castor oil is a big deterrent for these types of animals, burrowing, ground traveling animals. They find it very distasteful. And that's all it is. So they get it on their feet. They start licking their feet to clean it off. They don't like it. So they stay away from it. When they come back to the yard that has it, they smell it. They remember it's not good. So they turn around and go in the areas where it's not smelled. It's not strong enough for you to smell. So you will not spread it, even if you will not smell it, even if you spread it on your entire lawn. Okay, folks? So no worries about that. You've now eliminated your groundhog issue. Of course, you can also get castor oil. It's great to have around. It's all natural. And if you have physical dens in your yard, you might want to pour a little castor oil around the den hole, whether it's a fox or a groundhog in particular, or put it in a spray bottle, dilute it a little bit, and spray it around your plant areas that you don't want them to mess with, and it will work. Okay, it works great. And if you put it near a den hole, an existing den hole, they will relocate. This is the magic liquid here, folks. Okay, and it's all natural. So between Mole Max and castor oil, you will no longer have groundhog issues. You'll also will eliminate rabbit issues. Okay, rabbits are around for prey animals, okay? They're feeders. So, really, the only problem they're going to cause for you is eating your vegetation. All right. And you might not want that. So, if you don't want that, you would want to use the Molmax product. It's great for rabbits. I had a big job over at the Rudin estate in Bridgehampton. Mr. Rudin loved the rabbits running around his property. However, he did not like them jumping into his garden and eating his garden stuff. So, um, what he did was had me come over and I broadcast some mole max just around his garden, about 5 feet of it, and made a border, and it worked perfectly. They stayed away from the garden and continued to roam around the yard and eat the daffodils and things like that. Mr. Rudin was very happy, and all because of a simple uh, couple bags of Molmax product and a little bit of castor oil. Okay, that will solve your rabbit problems. All right, next animal. We're getting down there now to the end here. We're getting close. We have your opossum. Now, folks, why you would want to get rid of these animals in your yard is beyond me. They cause no damage to your home or your property. At the very worst, they're going to get into your garbage if you let them. But other than that, they just will probably find a shelter temporarily and then keep moving along. If you have made your yard unaccommodating, as we've taught you how to do, but otherwise, these are great pest control, natural pest control animals. They'll eat insects and they will eat rodents, and they'll also clean up any dead animals. They're omnivorous, they eat anything. So keep your yards clean, your garbage secure, and you probably won't see these critters unless they're passing through. All right. And you certainly don't want to leave your pet food out. That's the number one thing these critters will get drawn into your yard for. That's a big no no. And in this situation, it would be even worse because you can see here, mama's got a backload of babies that are ready to be on their own very soon. In fact, I'm not, I would bet money that by the time this night was over for these guys, at least four of those babies fell off mama's back. Pardon me. And because mama doesn't have a maternal bond with her babies, they were left on their own to survive where they fell, which is okay. That's what nature does. But we certainly don't want to um, instigate these things happening by putting out pet food and creating uh, issues like this. Okay. Remove all your food sources, water sources. You've hardware clothed all things that they can get under. You secured your trash receptacles. Maybe even have a motion activated sprinkler or some lights. Um, Sprinkle some peppermint oil around the perimeters again, or some ammonia soaked rags if necessary in coffee cans. Probably not necessary for these guys, but at that point, you've eliminated these guys from wanting to be in your property. Okay. The next one is rats. Okay. Rats are pretty simple. Keep your yard clean. Eliminate trash piles, debris piles, wood piles in your yard. These are all areas that the rats will create homes out of. And of course, you don't give them any food sources, fruit trees, allowing fruits to hit the ground and rot. Bird feeders, lose them. You don't want rats, get rid of the bird feeders. Keep the bird feeders, you're going to have rats. Okay. Pet food, clean up your pet food, secure your trash receptacles again. You've secured your sheds, your garages, eliminated the water sources. You made a 3 foot buffer zone around the perimeter of your property by trimming the vegetation. Maybe you put down a stone easement. That's great. You've secured your home 100%. You put rodent guards in your gutters. You've sprinkled some peppermint oil in the right areas. You pulled back the trees and bushes around your home. Folks, you don't have to worry about rats. You've already done all the work. They're non existent. Okay. So we can go on to the next animal. And the next animal is voles. That's voles with a V. Okay, very different than a mouse, although they look very similar. Here's a picture of a deer mouse and a meadow vole. Meadow voles are a big problem on the eastern end of Long Island. They're completely different than a mouse, although many people believe they're quite similar. As you can see here, you can tell the difference simply physical appearances. The eyes and ears on a mouse are large, while on a vole, they're very small. A mouse is an omnivore. They eat everything, while a meadow vole is strictly a herbivore. All right, only eating vegetation. A deer mouse is nocturnal, while a meadow vole is strictly diurnal. Okay, so similar species, but very different. In fact, a mole has a much shorter tail, as long as the shorter ears. How you tell? They're mostly underground. They're going to eat your roots of your ornamentals. They're going to kill some of your beautiful trees and ornamentals from under the ground. And a lot of people treat this with rodenticides outside, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. Okay, you put poison outside for rodents. Boy, you're really stepping up the elimination of birds of prey there. Let me tell you. It is these rodenticides are packed with bird seed to draw animals to it. I've seen raccoons rip open these wool boxes filled with rodenticides. They're simply plastic. They rip them open, they eat them, they get very sick from the poison, and then they poop all around your pool and your deck right before your big Fourth of July party. So you don't want these problems, these scenarios. They all are very common. Then listen to me, folks. Lose the rodenticides. Get rid of them. Certainly don't put them outside. That's crazy talk. All right. How are we going to solve this vole issue? Well, you already have. You've used MoleMax. MoleMax is a great product to repel voles. You're just going to have to broadcast it over your entire yard, which you've mowed the yard down good. You've kept tall weeds away from your foundation. Do the same around your plants. Okay. A lot of castor oil around these ornamental plants is not going to hurt. It's going to deter these voles. The castor oil is a great deterrent. And at the very maximum, if you really want to do a permanent fix for vole issues, before you plant a garden bed or before you plant a new tree or a bush, after you dig the hole, you literally are going to line it with hardware cloth. Okay, before you put in the planting and fill it in. That is the only permanent way to keep voles out of your garden beds and from eating the roots of your trees. Okay, the only way. Okay, because whatever you do on the surface or inches below the surface, these voles will just go deeper and get to the roots by digging underground. So by putting the hardware, you've created a barrier now, and a barrier they cannot pass. So that would be the only permanent way. Okay, folks. Um, and of course, the coyote urine is also going to be a deterrent. You can get vole-resistant plants like daffodils, snow tops, or alliums, or ornamental onions. Even they're not they're pretty and they're great deterrents. You want to remove any ground cover debris or heavy mulch. Okay, that's a great spot for meadow voles to access underneath. Okay, So you do those things and you're going to eliminate that vole issue you've been trying to eliminate for years and years and years. Yeah, it's a lot of work for plants and gardens that are already in place, but it's the only way you're going to eliminate the problem permanently. And a lot of these advice I'm giving you folks are for folks who are building new homes. Do it right. Do it right the first time, and you will save thousands and thousands and tens of thousands down the road. I promise you. Okay. Let's go to the next animal. We're getting down to the end here, folks. I think we got three left. Here we go. The vole. No, we're talking about the mole. Okay, this is a mole. All right, very bizarre looking creature. They're actually a little bit bigger than you would anticipate. Um, they're mostly underground. However, we see them swimming in the pond every now and then. They are great swimmers. Uh, but they spend most of their time underground in moist soil. They love moist, wet soil. So, one of the deterrents for mole treatment would be certainly to make better drainage for your yard and not allow your yard to become hold a lot of moisture and saturate. You have a dry lawn, and you're going to have less interest from the moles. Okay. The Mole Max is a great product. Once again, it's a product made specifically for the moles, although you're going to want to water it down after you broadcast it. And that's going to let the castor oil and the other deterrent organic parts of the Mole Max to seep into the ground and down enough to where a tunneling mole will be deterred from the castor oil effects. Okay. Um, Castor oil based products, plant marigolds, daffodils around the perimeter of your yard. That'll eliminate them wanting to come into your yard to begin with. Um, the reason they're coming into your yard, by the way, folks, a mole is an insectivore. Okay. They're not carnivorous. They don't eat meat. They're not herbivores. They're not eating your vegetation, your roots, your plants. That's not their interest. Their only interest is insects. They are strictly an insectivore. All right. And for that reason, what are they finding in the lawns on the east coast of Long Island? Well, mostly earthworms and most specifically grubs. That's their favorite. All right. So if you have a bad mole problem, they're also very territorial. So sometimes when you see a lot of tunneling in your yard, you're going to say to yourself, "God, there must be a ton of moles out there." Well, that could be the tunneling from just one mole. Okay, they do cover a lot of ground. They will make a lot of tunneling if allowed to do so, and they're very territorial. So for them to bump into another mole and not and to join tunnels together is not something that is common practice for these solitary moles. Okay, so you are able, if you are able to treat your lawns to eliminate or lessen the worm grub consistency of your lawns, well, that's certainly going to break down the sources of food for moles. And once again, if they can't find it there, they're going to go somewhere else and find what they want elsewhere. And that's the objective here. Okay. So if you have to treat your lawn, do so. They make a variety of products. Many of them are natural. Okay. They have some that are uh, um, uh, um, gosh, what do you call that? Oh, living enzymes that get broadcast over the yard that will consume the grubs and the earthworm issue and safely and naturally with no chemicals. And then, of course, that leaves a yard not interesting to a mole. All right. um, I told you to limit watering because they prefer um, a moist soil. And lastly, a product that my wife used and did very successfully, um, pushing moles out of the yard and keeping them out, were a product you can get on Amazon. They're solar vibrating mole spikes. Okay. And it takes a little work. You don't just jam these in the ground and leave them and hope they do the job. You put them near tunnels that are already there, active mole tunneling. And then as they move towards the perimeter as they're being pushed away and they're trying to tunnel away from these devices, you make them tunnel out of your yard. And once you've eliminated the moles from your property, then you can take these mole spikes and place them around the perimeter of your yard, and they will protect the perimeter for other moles coming that want to come into your yard. Okay, so fantastic product, tested by us personally. My wife D-tested and D-approved. Okay. All right, folks, we're down to the last two. And this one is, of course, the biggest mammal that we have, the deer. All right. And this is simple, folks. Okay. To keep deer off your property, you use deer fencing. There is a limit of fencing. I have a little graph here. It's actually wrong. I wouldn't go. It might not be wrong for normal case scenario, but for the eastern end of Long Island, do not. Everything else is correct, but don't go by the deer. Deer will jump over a 6 and a 7 foot fence. I would start with a minimum of 8 foot and work myself up to a 10 foot if I absolutely do not want deer on my property. Okay. But to be more concerned of the fencing around the property, be more concerned with your gate, your entry gate. Okay. This is ridiculous, folks. All right. Nobody needs spire posts. Okay. You don't need pointed posts on your gates. All right. What are you trying to do? Teach these. You're already taught the animal a deadly lesson. He's impaled on your fence. What do you think other animals are going to look at that and say, "Ooh, this guy puts pointy things. We're going to stay away from him." No, they don't look at things like that. But what you're dealing with now is removing a very large carcass impaled on these spikes up off the ground. That's what you're looking at, and the cost for that is going to be pretty good, and for good reason, because you did something stupid. All right. I charge people arms and a leg for doing this, and I've done it many times. I've even removed a pregnant doe that was impaled and dead off of one of these gates. And it didn't happen until the gentleman came home and found it. And by that time, the animal was decayed. Um, had decomposed to a point where the skin was all dried up on the metal posts, and it took scraping to get the tissue off of this post. And the gentleman, after he got a bill, he did end up changing the gate so it wouldn't happen that way again. I suggest you lose the pointed gates, and you also make sure that the spacing between the posts are closer together. Okay. Don't make them so that the deer can get halfway through and not able to get their entrails through and not able to back out, because I've rescued deer from this as well multiple times. And I've also done cleanups where deer weren't found and they died halfway through coming through these gates. And it was the same mess to clean up. Okay. It's not necessary. If you want to keep deer off your property, keep them off by putting up the appropriate gate. Don't put it up so that you give them the option of trying to get on your property and getting hurt and killed as a lesson for doing so. Okay. It's not going to teach the other animals any different They don't have any idea what's going on. Just do the right thing. All right. And enough with these ridiculous, stupid gates that cause nothing but trouble. All right. And as far as fencing, folks, with the deer, look, if you're going to fence your whole property, that's fine. But on one side of your fencing, can you give about 2 or 3 feet of your property and allow what's called a wildlife corridor? Allow these deer to use that very thin part of the side of your property to traverse, okay, through the property to get to the back of the area they're trying to get to. Otherwise, people continually put up fencing, fencing, fencing. This keeps the deer on the shoulder of the road, which makes it more dangerous for drivers, okay, and hitting them. But it also doesn't allow them to reach the parts they want to get to. To do that, they have to go all along the road to the end of the street and come down the next street to get to an area they could have gotten to simply by walking through a wildlife corridor. If you make these corridors, the animals will use them and it'll keep them away from the roadsides. Okay, folks, I've been trying to tell the folks in East Hampton that at the town and village for so many years to alleviate the issues of deer getting hit by vehicles, and still property owners uh, refuse to do it because they want to make sure that every inch of their property is secured from every bit of wildlife they could possibly have invading their property. It's so ridiculous, folks, okay? You need to knock that stuff off. You're really hurting yourself more than you're hurting the animal. And you're creating a much bigger problem, okay? For those of you who allow deer onto your property, but you don't want them to cause issues. Certainly, there's a variety of deer resistant plants. I know as time goes by, deer are getting evolving to eat things that they don't normally eat. That's just the way things go with evolution. You're just going to have to keep up with that and stay abreast of the trees that are accommodating that they like and the ones that they don't like. All right. And use them if that's what's bothering you. Otherwise, deer cause very little problems. Their poop is straight fertilizer. It's not something you need to worry about. Your dog's not going to die if they have the disgusting habit of eating deer poop. It's not dangerous. And other than that, I think they're the most beautiful animals. I just wish there wasn't so many of them because they're really suffering because of overpopulation. And that's a topic we're going to be discussing somewhere down the line, unfortunately. Um, but it's most important. All right. Other ways to deter deer from your property, even if you don't use fences. Again, go online. They have a variety of these solar and battery powered deterrents that'll go anywhere in your yard, on your property, or on your house. They're motion activated. They come with a variety of strobe lights or red lights or consistent lights or ultrasonic sound or audible sound. Some of them have the whole kit and caboodle. In fact, this is the top of the line one. It has everything, and the cost on Amazon was simply $70. Okay. I used to install the smaller ones. I'd buy a dozen of them, put them around these big properties on Further Lane, all over areas of the house and yard, well hidden where they weren't visible, and they work great. They work great just alone as deterrents. Okay, so that's something you might want to think about. All right. Of course, there are other things for deer: motion activated sprinklers, motion activated lights. Of course, if you eliminate water sources, of course, bird feeders, deer love bird seed as well. So by eliminating those things, you're eliminating the lures that deer are coming onto your property for. Of course, you can use blood or bone meal fertilizers. That deters Deer, however, you don't want to use too much of it because it will attract other animals. So, not really a good deterrent. It is under certain situations. Human hair, you've heard about that working. It does. So does soiled clothing. If you put soiled clothing in a mesh bag, you can put them in locations to keep um, persistent deer out of certain areas while you're working on them or repairing them. And also, some folks have been successful using simply Irish soap, Irish Spring, Irish Spring soap, hanging it from tree limbs on low trees that the deer are chewing fruits off of or vegetation from. Hang a few bars of Irish Spring soap on those limbs, okay? And you might find yourself deterring those deer from that. All right. Okay, folks, we're to the last animal. All right. We've done everything. We've protected our lawn. We've made our lawns non accommodating to wildlife. They don't even want to come on. There's no food sources, there's no water sources. The yard is cut to the grass is too small. There's no debris piles of anything to relax against or protect myself or hide from. So it's really not an interesting yard. However, maybe they walked up to the house to see if there was any way of getting in or using your house for any reason that might accommodate them. They checked your foundation. Nope, no way to get in here. No vegetation against the foundation to hide and explore around being incognito, exploring around your house, hidden by high weeds. Nope, all that you've cleared up. You've left a nice smell of peppermint oil around the perimeter that only the animals can pick up, and they don't like it, so they're not hanging around. Bigger animals, they can't get up to your roof, so they're not interested anymore. The squirrels, they're not interested. They love the trees. They can't reach your roof, so they're just going to hang around and build drays up in your tree. That's okay. Okay. Everything's good. You've solved all your problems. You now have a 100% wildlife free home. You've killed no animals. You've used no chemicals. You have a completely organic lawn, property, and home. Okay. So you're all set, just like I promised you. But there's one animal that still can be a nuisance. And they have a little bit easier way of not having to touch your property to get to your home, much like the flying squirrel. Okay. And of course, I'm talking about birds. All right. Now we know birds are protected, so there's not much that we can do. Is we don't want to hurt them by getting rid of them. And certainly, when we see a bird building a nest, they don't just pop a nest up in a few minutes. It's a matter of time. So when we start to see birds building a nest on areas like our front porch light, well, we eliminate it. And disturb it and move that bird on before they finish it. Once it's finished, it's not now a time to move it. Okay. Now it's time to be patient. Allow them to finish the process of laying, giving birth, and those birds fledging and moving on. All right. It doesn't take long for birds. This process happens very fast. But once the nest is made, don't call up a wildlife guy and tell them you want to move a nest. Okay. Because it's not in a place you wanted it. Just wait till the process is over and then move the nest and then set a deterrent so that it doesn't happen again. Of course, we already know what we can use in these situations, and that is the blunt end bird spikes. And it's made for this purpose uh, exactly. Okay. It's even named after it. So, bird spikes in the right places will eliminate this type of property damage because, of course, not only do the nests stay when the birds leave, but there's a poop issue that has to be dealt with while the birds are there. Okay. So, again, how do you keep birds from wanting to be in this area? Well, eliminate the food and water sources. Okay, they're going to want to build a nest near a good food and water source. So, if you have bird feeders and a bird bath, that's a perfect spot for them to want to build a nest on your home if they choose that over a tree. Okay. Decoys work good for deterring some birds. However, after a while, they do realize that they aren't a danger, and this could be um, bad because when a real hawk or an owl shows up, they might not think it's real, and this can cause dangerous repercussions for the bird. Okay, anything reflective. I'm not much for mylar balloons and mylar strips. That kind of stuff gets blown and becomes part of the ugly parts of our environment, becomes trash and debris. So I suggest maybe if people have CDs anymore, I don't know if that's still an item that's available, but they give off a reflection that is not very accommodating for birds. And I do like pinwheels. I find them to really scare away birds as well. But I also have an item that I want to tell you about, and it's for a specific bird that causes issues, and that would be the woodpecker, right? We all have had issues with woodpeckers pecking on our house. It's called drumming. It's not only them looking for food, insects behind your wall, but it also can be the drumming could be noises made to attract mates as well. So there's a different variety of reasons for them to do this, but it will damage your wood siding on your homes. I know a lot of people like to fill these holes in with wood fillers or silicone, uh, but that doesn't deter them from making more holes. Okay. I suggest possibly putting more wood in another location, maybe a wood birdhouse um, that they can peck on or destroy. Or if you look at the bottom of this graph, you'll see another little method that seems to work quite well, and that's netting barriers. Okay, you do it from the gutter line, and the bottom will cover the areas that their holes have already been made, and this will deter. Uh, um, Woodpeckers from coming back, and they'll see the deterrent and they'll end up going someplace else. Quite honestly, what I've been recommending for the past 20 years has been working for people uh, for a long time and being very effective against woodpeckers, and that is simply um, a 10-inch pie plate, aluminum pie plate. Okay, little clear tape. Put a piece of yarn on there. Tape it to the pie plate. Get a tack it to your cedar shingles in the area of the holes, maybe put two or three of them. Light breezes will cause little movements. However, they don't need to move. It's the reflection alone will deter woodpeckers. They hate this stuff. Okay. They hate the reflection. And like I said, if there's a small breeze and these things move in any way, that is that's a give me. It'll keep the woodpeckers away for sure. Okay, at least until they lose the interest and move on and find other places. Then, of course, you can remove these pie plates and keep them close by in case the woodpeckers come back. Okay, chimney sweeps in your chimney. Okay. That's why I said make sure that the mesh gauge on your chimneys are sufficient and small enough not to allow any animals through, including chimney sweeps. Chimney sweeps will build nests in your chimney. They will give birth to a lot of young. They make an incredible loud noise when disturbed in your chimney. And of course, the chimney acts as an acoustic rifle barrel, shooting out the sound much louder than it really is. And it's quite an alarming hissing sound when all the babies and the mama start reacting to noises that they don't like. And a chimney sweeper is also very interesting because if you ever grab one out of your chimney or you're able to grab one in your hand, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, tonic immobility and thanatosis and playing dead. These birds will literally play dead in the palm of your hand until they're certain that you are not a threat. And then, of course, they'll spring to life and fly off. Um, proper chimney cap, and you've eliminated that problem. The last problem with the birds, I would say, would be with the European starlings. Okay, these are an invasive species. They are not protected, um, and they can cause significant damage in eaves. So you want to make sure you don't have a roof like this without having the openings secured with some sort of packing, canned foam, or even that bird net, that fine bird netting to pack in there. Okay. Do not give them an opportunity to breach your soffit area. That's where they want to be. That's where they want to have their babies. And they will create an enormous amount of poop both inside your soffits and outside on the gutters and your house. A very messy bird. So don't give them the option of breaching your house and they won't hang around. Okay. Also, a lot of problems we have with birds are putting nestings up on porch pillars. Okay. um, I had this, I've done this a million times, but it's always the same thing. In fact, I did it with Mr. Alec Baldwin, had this issue where the kids, his girls, had all their toys on the patio there that was covered, and the birds had built nests. And so, of course, they were pooping onto the patio area where the girls played. And of course, they pooped on some of the toys below. So Mr. Baldwin called me and asked me to remove these nests. Unfortunately, the birds were still in them. They were in the baby stage. Actually, they were in the fledging stage. So fortunately, I all I had to do was ask Alec to have a little patience. Let the birds continue to fledge. Maybe another week, they'd be on the ground, they'd be out of there. And as soon as they did, I would come back in a week or two and I would remove the nests. They were on all four corners, three of them actually. And I would install some blunt end bird spikes for him so that he wouldn't have to put up with this problem year after year, which is what I did. And hopefully he is still not having those issues with the nestings on his porch pillar. Folks, this took me a little longer, 3 hours and 15 minutes. All right. But again, I was very thorough, and you have everything you need to know to make your home on the eastern end of Long Island 100% wildlife proof property and home. If I've missed something or there's something further you'd like me to elaborate more on, or you think I've missed something, or you have another question that hasn't been brought up, please just email me and I will be happy to answer that question. Uh, of course, as soon as you bring it to me, I'll answer it right away for you. Okay. And as I said earlier, for those of you folks who take my advice and do what you do, and if it just so happens that you it worked and you have eliminated the need for exterminators and trappers, I certainly would be grateful, since I did not charge you for all this great information, that maybe you could find it um, in yourself to send me a donation so that I can continue to do our rescue and rehab operation here, and I continue to do educational programs for you back home on Long Island. Okay, folks. So that is always appreciated, And there's my Venmo there. You're welcome uh, to send it there, or contact me. I'll give you my address if you want to send me a check um, as well. We would certainly appreciate it. We have been doing this for a very long time, and we've been doing it all out of pocket ourselves, and we'll continue to do that. But where folks want to know how they can help us, that's the way they can help us. Okay, send us a donation. Let us know you're grateful for what we're doing and that we're helping you. Um, and that'll be great. Okay. Now, folks, I want you to know a little something. I'm going to put up this last graphic before I close the show. Everything I mentioned to you today, every single thing that I mentioned that'll cost you money to make your house 100% in your yard wildlife proof. Okay. There's the list. All right. Everything was humane, 100%, no kill, all organic, no chemicals. All right. Now, if you bought every single thing to cover all 17 of the animals I talked about today, all right, the entire price of your preventative materials that, believe me, aren't just one time usage, these are multiple time usage, um, things you'll be able to use over and over again. Um, I've totaled it up, the whole thing, $781 it'll cost you. If you have nothing going on at your house is in terrible condition now, it's going to cost you $781 to bring and your time to bring your property and home to 100% wildlife resistant. Okay. And that's if everything is included. If you are just needing the basics, okay, not all the fancy mole spikes, and you already have a chimney cap, and you don't need gutter guards, and you already have a motion activated sprinkler, or you don't need one. Those little things you can leave out, and you're looking at your basic costs for the necessities of preventative um, um, items uh, at $406. $406 for everything you're going to need to make your house wildlife proof. Okay. Now, considering an average trapping fee is anywhere from $650 to 1,000 plus dollars to remove one or up to three raccoons from a week session of trapping, I would say that your $780 or $406 cost of preventatives and the time you put into it is well worth it. Okay. So think about that, folks, and then make the right choices, do the right things in your yard, and then you'll have eliminated the damage and the nuisance issues of wildlife, leaving only the beautiful parts of wildlife to enjoy on your property in the future. All right, folks. So um, that is it. And let me just make sure I do have that list of items. Of course, this show is recorded, so you're going to be able to view it and review it whenever you want to. But if anybody wants a copy of that list that didn't couldn't screen save it, or just wants to have it, just let me know. I'll send you a copy of it, and that is that. Okay, folks? Now, hopefully, this whole episode has been recorded properly. I see I'm at 3 hours and 20 minutes. I think I've been very thorough in this show, and I thank you once again, folks, for joining me. Again, any questions? Here's my contact information. Make sure you reach out to me. Be more than happy to answer any questions or talk about any subject matter that you want to talk about, as long as it's related to wildlife. Okay, folks, I apologize again for not being able to get this to you last night. I do appreciate your patience and allowing me to bring this to you on a Monday instead. All right. Um, I thank you. Follow my advice, folks. All right. And you'll thank me later. And don't forget those donations for those of you who I save tens of thousands of dollars. All right. That should be well worth a $50 or $100 donation for a good cause to help animals. All right, folks. Remember, wildlife matters. And we will see you next week, next Sunday. We will see you. And we will hopefully have Deb Klugers in to talk about an unbelievable, awesome topic of honey laundering. All right. So join us next Sunday, folks, at 5 o'clock. Until then, have a great summer. Have a wonderful week. And remember, wildlife matters.
Taking a walk through an African park one day, I saw a sign say animals have the right of way. Wildlife, whatever happened to you're breathing so hot, a lot of political nonsense in the air.